Where are the low value men? Like, what are all the low value men up to during these trying times? Because the high value men, I know they're around. They won't shut the fuck up. Low value men, I have not heard a word out of. I'm starting to think I'm on their side. I think I want one of those. I want a low value man. They don't make podcasts. I haven't seen one low value man make a podcast. Do they not know how to use microphones? Maybe that's a good thing. That's hot. All right, I've never seen a man use a microphone for good.
Until now, everybody buckle up. It's low value mail time with your host, Danny Polishchuk. Oh boy, everybody, welcome back to an all new episode of Low Value Mail on this Monday, November 4th. Sorry, I got to adjust that. 2024, the year of our Lord. This is episode number 126 of your favorite call-in show, Low Value Mail. And what a show do we have for you tonight. And in the spirit of democracy, I put up a poll. Some people have been complaining I took away the wrenches. I think it looks shitty, to be honest. And then also, there's no point in them because there's not going to be any. And it was hard to manage. But anyways, if you guys really want the wrenches back, I'll consider it, even though it'll be a nightmare for me to have to give them all back to you. But I will maybe consider it. Stop the steal. All right. Well, it's election eve here on Low Value Mail. And we got a lot to talk about. This episode, we got no guests tonight. I said that we're going to normally have guests, and we will normally have guests. Tonight, we are not, because the election's tomorrow. I'm sure a lot of you have a lot on your minds, a lot to say, a lot you might be worried about, some predictions, who knows what. But I want to hear from you. So we will have no guests. This will just be open lines tonight. I want to hear who you voted for, if you're voting. And if you're not voting, I want to know why. And then also tonight is the debut of Low Value Mail Overtime, starting at 11:30 p.m. That is for paid subscribers only. If you want to get access to that episode, which I'll just be mostly covering various articles I don't get to, or I just maybe don't want to do on the main show. We'll have a little bit of open phone lines as well on that show. If you want access to it, you can do so by either joining the YouTube channel here. There's a little join button. You can join there. Or ideally go to patreon.com/lowvaluemail, MAIL, as at some point this channel will be completely demonetized. It's really not a matter of if, but when. Whereas you got to do some wild ass shit for them to take away your Patreon. I don't know what you need to do to take away the Patreon. And I'll be reading your super chats tonight as well. And we got a super chat from Man City 5 Pete. Says your AI stuff is too funny. Hopefully they don't send you to the gulags if Kamala wins. Yeah. You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I've been kicking around some ideas for some AI videos that I was going to do, like put out today. And I was very much just like, like some of the things I was thinking of, I'm like, I don't want to get in trouble. You know, there's a real fine line between comedy and election misinformation right now. And, I was like, you know what? I'll just wait till after the election, and hopefully that's not 6 fucking months from now. Shout out to Vince gifting 5 Low Value Mail memberships. Vince, you are the man. So, big news. Election time. Big news. The big news. Joe Rogan just endorsed Donald Trump. Elon Musk was just on Joe Rogan today. Joe Rogan, not 10 minutes ago, endorsed Elon Musk. No, he didn't. He endorsed Donald Trump. What am I talking about, man? He endorsed Donald Trump. Not really a surprise. He's had on Trump He's had on JD Vance, Elon Musk, all in the last week or so, roughly. And I guess the question was whether he would endorse anybody. There was no scenario listening to him interview Donald Trump and JD Vance, who he seemed to enjoy both of them, and they're both good interviews. There's no chance you listen to that and you go, this guy might just come out with a Kamala endorsement. It seemed like he would just sit on the sidelines and not endorse anybody. I don't think he's ever endorsed the president, but I mean, he's obviously worried. He's concerned. He is concerned because he's endorsing Donald Trump. I don't know if this does anything, to be honest. I don't really know if that really moves the needle in any way. I don't know if there's UFC fans who are sitting on the sidelines, Rogan fans who are like, yeah, it was maybe, but maybe. You never know. I mean, I don't know why people would wait until tomorrow to vote when you don't have to, but I guess people do whatever they got to do. People do their own thing. That's fine. The current poly market odds, 59% Donald Trump, 41% Kamala Harris. And it was like, got down to like 53-47, I want to say, in the last few days. So it's kind of bouncing back. And he's also 59-41 to win Pennsylvania, which seems like if that happens, that'll be it. So I've been saying for a while we're not going to know the answer to who won, but we might actually have an answer, and then it'll be just hotly contested on a number of different grounds. Basically, this election, this is my opinion, do with it what you'd like, what you may. If Trump wins this, and I imagine that a majority of the people watching this right now, listening to this, are Trump supporters, will be voting for him, assuming they live in the United States and are not committing election fraud. But this is kind of how I see this on a simplistic level. Everybody always votes for their own reasons. All right, everybody has their own reasons. But for me, it seems like if Trump wins, this will essentially be a rejection of, and I hate using this term, wokeism, but whatever you want to call it. I think people are just sick of this shit. You know, they've watched it kind of amp up over the last 8 years. It didn't really abate in any fashion. You know, you can almost say it kind of crescendoed with the Olympics this summer, where two boxers who I somehow bet against, don't ask me what I was thinking there. It seemed like a lock. But two boxers who, have XY chromosomes. I wouldn't go as far as saying they're men. Because I don't actually believe that. I do believe they're both intersex, which is obviously not the same as being a man. But it does give you goddamn testes in your belly, and it gives you elevated testosterone. There's no question about that. Do I think they're full-on men? No. If they boxed men, I think they would get the shit beaten out of them, because there's still enough woman in them. But I think people are just sick of this shit. And if Trump wins, I think that'll be what the vote is. That and just, no more foreign wars, and just stop sending American money to these countries to just basically go kill each other when America has its own problems. Enough of its own problems, for sure. And I think that'll be the case for a Trump victory. If that happens. Also, if Trump wins, that is another massive blow to the mainstream media, in my opinion. They've been pulling out all the stops. Absolutely all the stops. They have been twisting everything he says. They have been repeating lies over and over again. And you know what? I don't know if you can blame them. I watch, I flip through the channels. I watch the news. I'll turn on CNN from time to time. Honestly, CNN might be legitimately my guilty pleasure. Shout out Jake Tapper. No, it might be my guilty pleasure. I do watch it. It's interesting that they've started throwing on conservatives just to kind of get a balanced outlook. And I think this is more of a business decision than anything. I think they're like, you know what, this does not benefit us to just be another slightly far left MSNBC. Just not good for business. Right? But if this happens, this will not be good for them. This will be the dawn of, I guess, X. And this will be bad for polling. This will be bad for a lot of... Not to be bad. I don't think this will be bad. I think these are natural things that need to occur, you know? And this will just be something that maybe just speeds up that process of just their demise, hopefully. If Kamala Harris wins, I think it's pretty obvious why. It'll be women and abortions. That's it. I mean, women are more emotional. Don't tell me you're not. I hear you being emotional, telling me you're not more emotional. We know they are. They vote more by a pretty decent amount. Like, I was looking at the early turnouts in a lot of places, and it's like 55-45 women. So women vote more. Women have really no excuse to ever even say, like, it's very much like almost the WNBA argument. Like, why isn't the WNBA more popular? And it's like, you don't support it. Women vote more. If you want a female president, this is now your second fucking chance, women. This is chance number 2. You vote more. There's more of you. There's literally more women than men. I believe it's like 51-49. And they vote more on top of that. So if you really want a female president, if you really truly believe it, there's not much in your way. I guess maybe your Snoopy husband who demands to look over your shoulder at the voting booths. But that's what it'll be. It'll straight up. And by the way, for people who are like, 4 years of Kamala Harris, you're getting 8 years, okay? You're fucking naive if you think you're getting 4 years of Kamala Harris. This election is 4 years of Donald Trump, 8 years of Kamala Harris. But again, women, I said this to my wife. I said this to a lot of people about this specific issue, but people don't like being told what to do. They don't. People hate being told what to do. Who likes being told what to do? Nobody. Right? You don't like being told what to do. Nobody does. Who likes being told what to do? Less. Men or women? Women, of course. Women do not like being told what to do. And they don't like being told what to do by men. And they don't like being told what to do with their bodies by men. So if this is what happens, and again, I'm not even like, I'm not a pro-life guy. I am, I do believe that they're, if you need an abortion. And the problem is there's all these edge cases that come out. A lot of them are lies. But there are some edge cases that come out, and people are like, yeah, it's too much. And I kind of agree with it, I kind of agree with it. Like states that are, from what I understand, just outright banning abortion. I couldn't get I was looking into it yesterday to see. It's, if you Google it, it says there's like 13 states that have completely banned abortion. But, they have these edge cases where there was some woman on 60 Minutes last night, and she's like a doctor, and she had some complication. Her baby was all like mangled inside of there, and she's like, lives in Texas and like couldn't get it. That just doesn't do well. It's not. So anyways, if Kamala Harris wins tomorrow, it'll be specifically because of that one thing. And I blame the men. I blame the husbands for not getting your goddamn wives in line. You tell them who to vote for, and then if they are truly subservient women in the eyes of the Lord, they will do your bidding. But these guys are just a bunch of pussies. So, my wife voted for who I told her to, Jill Stein. And that's what you do. Betting markets and traditional polls. This will be a big test for this, because if the betting markets are right, the traditional polls, that chick came out, whatever her fucking name is, she's like, Iowa is, going big time. I don't think like the Democrats lose Iowa always. They always lose Iowa. It's middle of the country. It's like, when you think of Trump country, you think of Iowa. You think of just farmers and MAGA hats. You don't think of Kamala Harris, but she put out with this poll, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, it's the Kamala Harris is ahead." And so some people are like, "Well, this is going to be some bellwether for the rest of the country," and you'll see, and there'll be this massive blue wave, and Kamala Harris is going to sweep. But the betting markets still have Trump winning, and should the betting markets be right and the pollsters are wrong? That'll be it. That'll just be a win for free markets, essentially, is what that'll be. It'll be like, you know what? Polling is not efficient, but at the end of the day, markets are not efficient. Obviously, I'm not going to say markets are completely efficient, but there's something about someone putting their money down and betting versus what do you do? What does a pollster do? You just fucking open up a phone book and you just call random people up? And again, like, what kind of psycho answers a poll? If someone called me, I mean, I don't pick up numbers I don't know. So instantly, like, you need the type of person who picks up a number you don't know, and you're telling me this is an accurate poll, but the only people involved all pick up numbers they don't know? Do you go to their house? You show up to their house? I mean, I don't answer the door. If someone knocks on my door, generally, I might have a look, but definitely if they're trying to poll me, I'd tell them to go fucking take a hike. So this will be an interesting one because, you know, we could see if the betting markets get this exactly right and the polls are, I mean, most polls are just like, it's a coin flip. It's like, thanks for turning up, pollsters. How much money do you guys make to just be like, it's a coin flip? Like, anybody could say that. Literally anybody could say that. It's not doing anything. But if the betting markets are right and the polls are wrong, then that's probably the end of polls. I mean, you'd be stupid to look at polls. Poly market will just be the gold standard going forward. And none of this even existed last election. I know you could bet on the elections, but I don't think they had like these liquid open markets the way poly market is. So that will be interesting to see. My gut says that Trump. It's so hard because like me personally, I definitely feel like the betting markets are right. I feel like the betting markets are right. I feel like the pollsters are wrong. That is, I feel like there's $3.2 billion currently on poly market on the presidential election. I have to think that, the people betting in favor of Donald Trump are going to be the right ones. And there's a reason why she's an underdog there. But my gut says that the machine will not allow Trump to win. Now, again, you could be like this. We have fair democratic elections in the United States. Case can be made for that. But man, is he really coming after so many fucking people. Like the people he's just aligning with. Elon Musk, RFK. There's just, they're trying to change too much. And I'm not even against it. I'm not even against anything they propose. I like all the shit. I want Elon Musk to just have 4 years to take a crack at government spending and government waste. Just do what you did with Twitter. He fired 2/3 of the people who worked at Twitter. It's better. It's way better. Like, it's way better. It's not even close. Like, it's not even fucking close. Phone lines are not open yet, guys. They will be soon. Mark, we're just waiting for Mark to show up. He's coming. I'm going to text him right now. But we're going to be open. The phone lines will be open soon. But yeah, he's trying to do way too much. Way too much. Like RFK is saying that he's going to get rid of pharmaceutical ads on TV. I looked this up. That's 10% of their fucking budgets. Or not, sorry, of their budgets. That's 10% of their ad revenues come from pharma. That's for something like a CNN or an MSNBC. That's $50 million plus per year, each company. Now, I guess you could say, oh, well, there'll be some other advertiser that'll just pop in and take those ads. I don't think so. I don't think that's how it works. These pharma companies have, I'm not going to say unlimited money, but they have deep pockets, very deep pockets. And man, the enemies that they're fucking making right now, it seems, and again, I do believe that the elections are mostly fair. I'm not some election denier yet. But I do feel that they are mostly fair. What did I do? I did something here. Oh, I fucked up. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this whole thing set up here. I don't know what I did here. But we'll see. And we do know that the results will be heavily contested. That is a guarantee. The results will be. Oh man, this is gonna be so fucking annoying. I am annoyed just thinking about how long this will drag out. I was just watching Ben Shapiro on Nelk Boys. I just saw a little clip. Ben Shapiro outlined or laid out the worst case scenario. I think the best case scenario is just a tie. 269. Trump's the president. Tim Walz is the vice president. It's some sort of, basically shitty sitcom, and we have a good time for 4 years. That would be a fun time. And Kamala Harris gets a podcast that she just kind of stammers on. It's probably not that good, but she gets $20 million an episode. Something like that will happen. But this is going to be super contested. I can already... Trump's already setting it up. He's been talking a lot about the fact that, if, we'll accept it if it's fair, but there's no scenario where they're going to accept a loss. So there's going to be lawsuits. But he's not the only one. Fun thing about this is he's not the only one. There's we got a lot of people who will be contesting it. This is an article from Politico. This is from today. Russian disinformation is back. Multiple Russian disinformation campaigns targeting the U.S. elections have ramped up their efforts to sow discord about the electoral process and hot-button domestic issues, according to exclusive findings shared with Politico by a Russian disinformation research group. How we're even listening to these Russian disinformation research groups, beyond me. You think they kind of fucked up enough that, maybe they shouldn't exist anymore? They probably, you would think, don't really have a leg to stand on anymore. But no, they do. They still exist. And it says maybe there's some kind of AI generated or false content that is fairly readily debunked by mainstream authorities, but is enough of a fig leaf to allow a group of people in Congress to refuse to certify an election. For example, said Bateman, just something that can kind of muddy the waters and be exploited purposefully. So we got it on both sides here. There's very fine people on both sides, as they say. Very fine people. The finest, if you will. But they're just going back to their old playbook. They're literally, this is 2016 all over again. A woman's going to lose to Trump, and they're going to be like, that was Russian disinformation. It's funny because they're like AI-generated content. I'm like, ooh, hope they're not talking about me. I would never make AI disinformation. But again, AI is so easy to use. Even since I started doing it a month ago, I see even more and more videos of AI shit. I see it all the time. And they're just like, yeah, there's an AI video that made Kamala Harris look stupid. That must be Russian disinformation. It must be. What else could it be? What else could it be? Could it be anything else? I don't think so. So we're going to open the show lines. Before we continue, please, everybody, do me a favor. Like and subscribe to the channel. If you're an audio listener, there's a lot of you who just listen on audio. Make sure to follow the podcast. Leave a review if you're on Spotify or Apple Music. That helps. If you want to support the show, you can do so. You get access to Low Value Mail After Time, the after show, which is happening tonight at 11:30 p.m. Some topics. We're going to be covering medically assisted dying stories from Canada, as well as some of the election interference going on there. Some Cuomo. Cuomo's getting in trouble with the DOJ. Not Chris, the other one. Andrew. And there's no bathhouse tomorrow night, of course. I announced it, not of course, but we're back next week. We've got a killer lineup. Joey B. Tunes is actually going to be on the show next week, so that's going to be pretty exciting. But tomorrow night, if you want to catch me, see me on Corinne Fisher's Without a Country live stream at 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And then Ryan Long will also be on that. And then we're ripping over to the studio, and we're going to be doing a very special Boys Cast election night stream at 10 p.m. until when? I don't know. Also, If you, speaking of mainstream media, I love you, mainstream media. This Saturday night at 10 to 11 p.m. live, I will be on Fox News with Jimmy Fallon doing the election recap episode. So that should be a good episode. I'll be back on Fox News. 10 p.m. You can, and I don't know. I mean, I think you all have Fox News if you have TV, so you can catch me there. Scroats Unite. And then if you want to see me live, Albany, December 4th, and Hartford, December 5th. And I got some Canada dates coming up, Edmonton, Vancouver. So that'll be good. Good time. Now, speaking of fraudulent voting, which we're all told doesn't exist in America. This is the most rock-solid system known to man. It's so rock-solid. My wife went to go vote last week. We're having a problem with the Zoom here to get the calls. Give me a second here. This is how we do it, you know? This is what we do. I was wondering what happened. Mark said he closed the meeting. I had a meeting open. Mark closed it. And so now I got to do it now. So talk amongst yourselves. But this will be done almost momentarily. Sorry about that. See, this is how we do it. It's still, I changed the background. I got a spiffy setting. The intro will be no more after this week, very likely. I've been working on a new intro. We're changing everything, but it's still the same low-value show that you know and love. But speaking of fraudulent voting, which we're told does not exist, I believe it doesn't. It does not exist. There is no fraudulent voting. There's no fraud. This is the most rock-solid election system known to the world, known to man even. You don't have to show ID. My wife went to go vote last week. No, I'm not gay. I'll just beat you to all that. She's a real woman, which is what straight guys say. They refer to their wives as real women, born that way. But she went to go vote. She pulls out her ID. And they go, nope, put that away. And she just assumes that you got to have ID. By the way, I'm going to open the phone lines right now. 1-888-949-2969. I want to hear from you. Election anxiety. Who are you voting for? If you're not voting, why? Mark will be answering the phones all night. And just, if you're on hold, just stay on hold. I will get to you. I promise. But so she went to go show ID. They're like, no, put that away. They're like, literally like, no. And I believe there's a legal thing where they're not allowed to look at your ID in New York State. Now, she did have to show ID at one point, the first time she ever registered. But now all she does is you show up and you go, here's my name, here's my address, to go spell your name, and they give you a thing and you go vote. I think she maybe had to sign something, and maybe they compare the signature. But like, if we're going off of that, that's like in the 80s. If you ever went to go, or like the 90s, if you ever went to go withdraw money from the bank, they had your signature card. That was like, that's how they used to do. Like, this is like 80s, 90s banking security. Is they go, oh, let me go over to this. They had like little one of those like cue card boxes, and they find your name, and then they find your signature. And then they look in, they go, that's the same signature. My signature's never the same. My signature varies wildly. So what? I can't vote? I mean, I can't vote legally, but I'm saying, like, if I were an American citizen, I just wouldn't be able to vote. That'd be the deal. Not allowed to vote. But that's how it is. No, and I mean, in Canada, you need ID. That's not to say Canada is better or whatever. It just seems logical. Hey, you want to vote in the election? Show us a piece of ID. But so last week, this is from the Detroit News on October 30th. A University of Michigan student who is from China and not a U.S. citizen allegedly voted Sunday in Ann Arbor and is being charged with 2 crimes 6 days before a pivotal presidential election. Now, do not go vote when you're legally not allowed to vote because you think it's funny. Because it's a pretty serious felony, right? This guy's getting deported back to China. The story says a 19-year-old from China was legally present in the United States but not a citizen, which meant he couldn't legally cast a ballot, according to information from the Michigan Secretary of State's office. He registered to vote on Sunday using his student identification and other documentation establishing residency in Ann Arbor, signed a document identifying himself as a U.S. citizen, and his ballot was entered into a tabulator, according to the Secretary of State's office. The ballot was cast at an early voting site at the University of Michigan's Museum of Art on State Street, according to the Ann Arbor City Administrator. Later, in his biggest gaffe of all, this was the stupidest thing he did by far. Later, the student voter contacted the local clerk's office, asking if he could somehow get his ballot back, according to Benson's office. So maybe he was having some second thoughts. Says, you know what? That was kind of a funny gag. Maybe I just wanted to see if I could do it. And then he did it. And he goes, oh, that was probably not a good idea. Which, that's what raised suspicion. The student's ballot is expected to count in the upcoming election, although it was illegally cast because there is no way for election officials to retrieve it once it's been put through a tabulator, according to two sources familiar with Michigan election laws. The setup is meant to prevent ballots from being tracked back to an individual voter. So his mistake was, I guess, yeah. He goes, hey, can I get it back? And they go, people don't ask for their ballots back. Why do you need your ballot back? Why? And then they started looking into it. And they go, oh, that was stupid of you. It's a big time felony, man. You're going back to fucking China. Enjoy going back to China after you spend maybe, I don't know, 4 years in jail. Something like that. You know, it's not going to be a slap on the wrist. Not for this. But so people tell you, you know, people, i.e., mostly Democrats, to be honest, but they tell you this is, you know, we have a great system. It's rock solid. I turn on the news every night. They're interviewing some guy who works at a polling station, head of whatever elections in whatever state, and they go, this is a rock solid system. I could go vote. I could literally, if I wanted to, I don't need to really prove much. I mean, I have a New York State ID. I have an address. It's the fucking honor system here. They just go, hey, are you a U.S. citizen? And you go, yeah. You go, do you pinky swear that you're a U.S. citizen? I go, yeah. Is that how you guys formally do it here? You just pinky swear? Do you need anything else? And again, in my wife's scenario, someone could have just got her name and address, showed up there, just been like, this is who I am. I'd like to cast a vote. And then when my wife shows up to vote, they go, hey, you already voted. And she goes, no, I didn't. And I go, well, someone said they were you and they voted. So that's what it is. All right. Let's see what's going on in the chat here. We got some calls coming in. I'm going to take a call in a minute. Is my audio sound good? I see someone says the audio is not good, but what's going on in the chat? I don't know. I'm not voting. This is not going to be happening. So don't worry about it. I don't know what's going on in the chat. Someone says they voted as my wife. Good job. You're going to jail, pal. All right, let's take some calls here. I believe we have the Goob first up. Goob, you there?
What's up, Danny?
How's it going, man?
Pretty good. So I was calling about the vote, the more important vote, the one for the wrenches.
The wrenches, yes.
And so you definitely
the wrench vote is currently, I think it's basically Harris, but it's fucking Harris Trump. 52 no, 48 yes. I mean, I feel like they look like shit in the chat.
Yeah, you definitely shouldn't give the wrenches back to anyone except for me. And I'll use it exclusively on people who use my name with a hard R.
Oh, with a hard R. You don't like the goobers?
Yeah. Please, Danny, please.
No. I mean, definitely
that's
the wrenches are not for deleting comments or anything like that. That's the thing. They were only for posting links, and we're not doing that anymore, so I don't really
it's a bad idea. You shouldn't give them back.
Yeah. I mean, it's currently no 52%. So, I mean, there's people who had wrenches who are voting no on that. That's for sure. But anyways, I'll see how the poll goes, the results, and then I'll decide. Although I'm not guaranteeing that I'll honor the results of this, but I will certainly consider. Have you voted, Goob?
Yeah, I voted no.
No, in the election, retard.
Oh, no, not yet.
You're going tomorrow?
And we were talking about the more important vote here.
Fair enough.
No, I'm pretty burnt out on politics, but
Me
if
too,
you want,
man.
I can give I followed really closely in 2020, and I can give the big three reasons why all the court cases were dismissed.
Yeah, let's hear them.
Over the fraud.
Yeah.
Yeah, so most of the cases that were filed before the election was certified were dismissed because there were no damages. The election hadn't been certified, and therefore nothing wrong had occurred yet.
Right.
So they were thrown out on that basis. And then after the election was certified, a bunch of them were thrown out because, well, it's a certified election. We can't do anything about it now. And then the third reason, because there was a whole lot of fraud that was proven, but our elections are so insecure that they had no way of auditing it to find out how much fraud or separating the fake votes from the real votes.
Sure.
So there were many cases where there was like on tape fraud occurring and stuff, but then going back, they go, well, there's nothing we can do about it now. We can't audit it.
And that's likely by design, right? Like they probably, I can't imagine that it's impossible. Like every 4 years and they go, yeah, like we just can't do this. You're like, but you've had
third
4
world countries
years.
manage to do this better than we do.
Yeah, I know that. Like every country seems like has voter ID. Every country manages to do this, and they just don't do it here. And then you're saying that there's these court cases, and they go, "Oh, well, we couldn't possibly." And you're like, "Yes, you could. You just don't want to." Nobody wants to admit it, but they just, it's not like they don't have the money or the resources. They have all that shit. They're just like, "Yeah, we want there to be." And again, I'm not even saying like when I'm talking about this kid in Michigan. Like, I don't know that he voted for Kamala Harris. He might have voted for Trump. I don't even know that. Like, I'm not even insinuating who he voted for, but you're like, this is a pretty easy thing to remove this. Like, why can't you show, like, everybody has a birth certificate, don't they? I might be talking out of my ass here because I don't know, but like, does every American you all have a birth certificate?
Generally speaking.
Because I know you mostly don't. I know lots of people don't have passports here. Or many people don't have passports. Like I've heard that so many times from Americans I know where they're like, yeah, I don't even have a passport.
Yeah, it's not hard it's not hard. The whole voter ID is, there's no one should have any issue with that.
No.
You need an ID for everything. You need an ID to buy beer, to do anything. Yeah.
Yeah, to do anything else you need an ID for other than vote. And I guess maybe the thing is they were like, we want to make it accessible so everybody can vote. Like that's what the position is. But still, you're like, it doesn't matter. Like, so what? Some people can't vote because they don't, they didn't get their ID in order. Those people who don't have, like, the type of person who wants to vote but doesn't have ID probably like doesn't really exist. Like if someone's so together that they're going to vote, they're like, they have
less than 1% of 1%.
Oh, you're talking about 1,000 people in the entire country probably who are like, yeah, I would love to vote, but I just like cannot bring myself to get ID. Like, I guess there's some subsection of like invalids who are like, I actually can't leave the house to get ID. And that's my issue. And I would like to vote, but I'm like, disabled.
Even then there's the internet.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there must be some way around it. So, but so you're just going to go vote?
No, it's total BS.
You're going to go vote tomorrow? Did they have early voting where you are?
There was some, yeah.
You just didn't want to. It's just easier to go. I feel like going on the day is like going to be fucking hours in line, no? Or do you live in a smaller place?
Probably.
Yeah.
No, it'll be busy.
It'll be busy. And why do you wait to the end? Because they say that a lot too with breaking down the demographics. They're like, women are more likely to early vote, men are more likely to just vote day of.
Honestly, I'm probably not going to vote this year because the biggest problem is immigration. I know Trump said he's going to deport all of them. I just don't believe it. So
Yeah.
I don't think anything's actually going to get fixed there. And if that doesn't get fixed, I feel like,
What's the point?
doesn't even matter.
Sure. And you're in a swing state, correct? You are in one of the major swing states.
No, I'm
Oh,
in Virginia.
oh, you're in
So-
Virginia, so that's pretty blue normally. So what's it? What is the process here? Like, you're just gonna wake up tomorrow and just see how you feel?
No, I'm probably just not going to do it.
Oh, okay. So
I voted for him twice,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, you're just gonna be like, I'm not voting. Is it? What do you think? What are the
Yeah.
odds here of you voting? What are the percentage chances that you go vote tomorrow?
Pretty low.
Pretty low. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just not feeling motivated to do it this year.
Yeah. Yeah. Seems like. I'm curious what the turnout looks like this year.
If I did vote, I think I would probably vote third party just for the hell of it, not
Like Jill Stein
because I actually want.
Chase Oliver.
Yeah, I'd probably vote Jill Stein just for not because I like her in any way, but a lot of people do seem to be going third party this year. Make a statement maybe, but
I mean, that would be interesting. That's kind of something nobody's really talking about, is what percentage of the third party might.
I think it's going to be a lot higher than previous elections.
You think third party, and you think it'll be green, or you think it'll be, because the libertarians they're all seem to be voting for Trump now, especially with his getting rid of income tax, and a lot of the stuff he proposes are really right up the libertarians' alley. So I can't imagine a lot of people, other than like the diehard libertarians, are voting Chase Oliver.
Right. Yeah. No, I think Jill's going to get a decent, definitely small portion. But and what is it, like 17% that they need to get into the debates? I don't think it'll be anywhere near that, but I think it'll be more than usual.
She's not getting. No way she gets double digits. That'll be insane. Interesting. All right. So we have someone who won't be voting, but if you are voting, you're voting for Jill Stein. Seems like no point of even doing that. Really.
Probably, but yeah, I'm not going to vote tomorrow.
You're not going to go wait in a fucking line for 2 hours to go vote for Jill Stein.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Do you want to sell your vote to somebody in the chat? I think some people would probably pay you upwards of $5 for you to just go vote for Trump for them. Is that legal?
Probably not for $5.
Okay. Well, people.
As long as it's recorded on the internet, it's very legal.
Oh, okay. Everybody, go bid on Goob's vote.
Yeah.
Maybe they can incentivize.
But
you.
all right, Danny. Oh wait, real quick, I had a question for you. Do you still check the low value mail email ever?
Occasionally, yes, I do occasionally.
Okay. Well, I sent you something.
Okay. I'll have a look at it.
But all right, man.
All right. Goob, everybody. Later, man. That was the Goob, everybody. All right. Let's go across the pond right now. So far, one caller, one person not voting. Please quickly unmute yourselves when I ask you so that we can keep this show humming along. Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Yo, this is James from Ireland.
James from Ireland. What's up, man?
Yeah, I was just calling to chat about the election.
Yep.
If that's okay.
Of course. That's all we're talking about.
Yeah. Personally, I'm probably favoring Harris.
Like you would, like if you could vote, you would vote Kamala Harris?
I mean, I know he's a bit young, but he's like, and like I know he's like socially liberal, so probably not your cup of tea. But I think he's like
who do you keep saying he about?
Oh, the Irish Prime Minister is also called Harris. It's unrelated to anything.
Oh, okay. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Are you talking about Irish politics?
Yeah, we have an Irish Prime Minister also called Harris.
Oh, okay. But are you saying
unrelated to anything else?
But is there an election in Ireland, or what are you talking about? You're talking about the American election.
No, one, I was just fucking with you, but two, there will be an election in Ireland in like a week, and we do actually have a Harris running. So
gotcha.
I just thought it'd be funny.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah. You give a lot of people a lot more credit for knowing what's going on in Ireland.
No, I expected you not to know. That was the joke.
Okay. But so would you actually vote for Kamala Harris if you could?
I'm going to be honest. I don't really like either of them.
Yeah, I mean that's almost everybody is like not great options.
You see, I don't know. Irish, we've got more of a thing with Democrats because I don't know. Democrats are generally like slightly better in foreign policy towards Ireland, I guess. But again, and all the Trump stuff, like he's good for like inflation and immigration. And since I don't live in America, neither of those really affect me. So
Sure. Although inflation seems to be generally a global issue, right? Like, I don't think, I could be wrong on this, but I don't think there's any countries who are like, yeah, we haven't had any inflation. Like, it seems like and I don't know if America is, the dog and, the rest of the world is the tail or whatever. I can't say I know exactly how this works, but you would think that if America somehow could get their inflation under control, that would be beneficial to the rest of the world.
I mean, we're in the EU, and it is reliant on America, but it is like the second biggest economy in the world, technically. So it's not as big a thing, but I mean, it probably would help. Yeah. Who do you think is going to win?
I mean, if I had to bet money, I would probably say Trump, but I would absolutely not be surprised in the least bit. The only thing I would be surprised of is like a Kamala Harris, if she like ran the tables, like if she won by like a landslide, that would be surprising to me. I would not be surprised if she won though, only because of the abortion issue. Because the abortion issue is like, just there's so many women I just hear anecdotally who are basically like, that's their line in the sand. They're essentially single issue voters, and that's it for them. You don't do that.
I think it's shocking to me how close it is. Like the fact that Trump is like slightly favored to win the thing, and he's had so many scandals, just shows I don't know how bad the Democratic Party have been, opposing him.
Fully agree. Yeah. Like if they had even a decent candidate, it would be a rout. But he's not the greatest, or she's not a good candidate by any measure. And yeah, I mean, the thing with his scandals though is like nobody even cares because most Republicans, and I'm sure a lot of Democrats too, like they think it's bullshit. Like a lot of his things, like. Like a lot of like his 34 felonies, nobody thinks most people do not think that those are real crimes. They think that they're just coming after him. And it's essentially like, find me the man, I'll find you the crime type of deal. So, and
do you want to hear my
go ahead.
His corruption?
Uh-huh.
I think Trump is the first openly corrupt politician, while most politicians like pretend not to be corrupt, but secretly are. Like, Trump is taking money because he tells you to your face. Well, most politicians pretend they don't, but like are secretly taking money under the table or in sponsorships or whatever.
Sure.
And so no one really knows that it's Trump because he just admits like, yeah, I did it, and so what? You did it too. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, he goes, that's the game, and he's not trying to be like, I'm above this. I'm a politician. I can't be bought. He's very much like, yeah, I can, for the right price. Although, obviously he's had. Many scandals. I'm trying to think of specific, instances because obviously with, the Hunter Biden laptop and that implicated Joe Biden in some kickbacks. I'm sure that he's had dealings or he's passed laws or whatever that directly benefited him. But I don't know if, he's so rich where it's like, it's hard to give that guy like a kickback because it would have to be so much money. And he's under such a microscope too. Where it would arguably be more difficult for him to do anything like that, just because everybody is just waiting.
I actually, sorry, it's not like it's a bit of part of my job. I can't really talk about my job, but some of it is just following politics.
Yep.
Trump was basically a bunch of the Saudis while he was president just started staying in his hotels and just booking up rooms and paying full price. even though they weren't staying there. That's how he'd be getting money.
Gotcha. But again, what is that? What are we talking about at the end of the year? For like,
I don't know.
What kind of money is 10 hotel rooms at full occupancy for a year?
It's probably a fair bit, but again, I kind of think most politicians in America would just, I don't know, they just take like sponsorship deals from Google or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, the deal with being a politician like the president is the whole deal is you make like $370,000 a year, and then when you're done, you charge $500,000 to give a 2-hour talk. Like that's kind of what it is. Like if you look at Obama, Hillary Clinton, like the amount of money they've made, from that kind of, even though Hillary Clinton wasn't, but Bill Clinton was, but like, you make the money after the fact. So I don't like, you say like the hotels thing. I'm like, that's fucking chump change to him. If you told me that he got some sort of like sweet deal where they're like, yo, here's a plot of land that we were never going to zone for a hotel and you can have it and be zoned for a hotel, then maybe I would say, hey, like, that's something.
Personally,
some hotel stays, I'm like, that doesn't move the needle at all.
Yeah. Personally, I think Trump gets in so much trouble because he's just doing it openly. Everyone else knows to hide this stuff, since he just kind of like, I'm not going to hide it if I'm going to do it anyway. So he's just easier to catch. Everyone else is, like, he's just doing what everyone else is doing. He's just not as experienced.
And I mean, he does some fucking scammy shit. There's no question. Like his Trump coin thing. His crypto thing that he just decided to run a few weeks ago, like literally 2 weeks out from the election. He's just like, I'm shilling some crypto scam token and his $100,000 watch. Like he does all these things. I don't believe any of them are like for fundraising opportunities. I think that's just to personally enrich him. I guess the question is, because there's a big debate about how much money he actually even has. My guess is, just based on the airplane that he has, you got to have a lot of money to just keep an airplane like that going. So
my honest preference would be, I don't know, get rid of Trump, get rid of Harris, just have the vice presidents run. They seem better than the two ones they have, to be honest.
Yeah, well, that's not how it works. Maybe 2028, one of the vice presidents will be running, but I mean, Walz is done.
I mean, J.D. Vance is actually interesting because he's kind of got like a unique thing for like an Irish guy.
Yeah.
See, like I actually looked into him. He's a Protestant, like Irish Protestant, but he became a Catholic, which kind of gives him a connection to like both peoples in Ireland,
Sure.
which I don't know, would, like in Ireland probably be like an Obama, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, in Ireland he would just be like kind of middle of the road Democrat. Yeah.
No, not middle of the road. I'm talking as like the first Protestant to like become a Catholic, who's like a big political figure.
Right.
That would make him like a pretty big deal in Ireland.
Yeah. Interesting. All right, I gotta let you go, man. But thanks, James.
All right, friend. See you. Bye.
James from Ireland, everybody. All right, let's take another call. The phone lines are open, 1-888-949-2969. Let's hear. Are you voting? Who are you voting for? If you're not voting, let's find out why. Let's go to show favorite, Heroin Chris. I believe he's here. And, call in and go on hold. We'll get to you. Hello.
Howdy, am I on Low Value Mail with Danny Polischuk?
Yes, you are. How's it going, Chris?
It's going well. I'm hanging in there. How are you, Danny?
I'm very well. Chris, are you voting or have you voted?
Absolutely. Now, keep in mind, I'm in Texas where, I feel like a retard for standing in line and voting at all. But, of course, I had to vote Trump and be a part of this historic moment to get our country back on track and keep that bitch out of the Oval Office.
Sure. Now, and how's the detox going? For people who don't know, you've had a little of a substance issue, specifically.
We're talking about the election, Daniel.
Well, this is pertinent to what I'm about to bring up. So I'm just wondering how it's going.
Yeah, not so hot. I was doing really well there for a bit, and I'm doing much better than when we spoke previously. But I can't exactly say I've been clean and sober since the last time we spoke, but
okay.
I'm on the right track, and I'm in a much better headspace. I know what I have to do, and slowly and surely I'm getting there. Just detoxing at home.
It's good to hear. So. That's good to hear. But I mean, even with battling an addiction, you're still able to get out there and vote, which is impressive. That's all I was kind of.
Absolutely. Well, I've had a fair amount of run-ins with the law, but fortunately enough, I've been able to keep that F conviction off my record. So plenty of probation and weekends in jail here and there, but no convictions. So I maintain my privilege to vote and own firearms and all that good stuff. But yeah, I'm certainly voting for Trump, and I'm excited. I gotta be honest with you, I'm kind of nervous. I kind of feel for you podcasters, even those of you who aren't political. It's like, how can you not discuss this?
It's the biggest story in the world.
So, yeah. Admittedly, I've gotten sucked up in that myself. I, sort of try to stay above it and, just like, it's whatever, life goes on. But no, I've gotten sucked up in the madness, and if Trump loses, I might kill myself. So
no, don't do that. That's not necessary. The world goes on regardless of who the politicians are. What's so you're in Texas?
Yeah,
what is the debate over abortion like there? What is the discussion? Because
well, here, I mean, it's like that's when you're not talking about immigration, which first and foremost dominates the conversation statewide. Yeah. As far as abortion is concerned, I mean, I'm in my 20s, and you remember what it was like when you were 20. So it's like, as a guy, it's like, yeah, if I knock a bitch up, I certainly want that option available. But
absolutely,
none of my friends are die hard, pro-life or pro-choice one way or the other. With that being said, it's all the women are yapping about, and they're certainly annoying. I grew up in a Catholic background and sort of retain like that. I'm not going to give a lecture on, whether life begins at conception or not, but I think it's fucked up what they're doing to these babies. And, it's crazy. Like when you hear them say like, in the case of, I don't know. I just wish we could go back to like the safe, legal, and rare thing that Bill Clinton was up to.
Because can you get? Is it totally outlawed abortion in Texas?
I couldn't answer that.
From what I understand, it is. I mean, I have siblings and sisters who are that age. None of them are at all concerned. I mean, I think worst case scenario, you take a road trip, right? But there's not the fear mongering you see in commercials and whatnot that it's like some dystopian hellscape for women in this state. That's just simply not true. No, it's not true. Yeah, I'm trying to get a beat on are Texas women voting for Kamala over this, or are they way more concerned with immigration? I just looked it up, and it said in 2022, Texas enacted a law that prohibits almost all abortions. Abortions are banned with certain exceptions. So,
I mean, it's crazy just how important and impactful that suburban white women demographic is. We saw that reflected in 2020, and this, even those who, lost their eggs years ago. I mean, it's like all they care about, and so.
Well, they probably, when they had their eggs, this might have been abortion might have been a topic, and they probably just remember back to when they were like, I remember when I did have my eggs and I couldn't get an abortion, and now they're doing it again, and they probably just don't, not to quote their fucking slogans, but they're just like, yeah, we don't want to go back to that. Understandably.
God forbid Trump does lose. God forbid he does lose. The funniest route, and I hope all of you are blaming Tony Hinchcliffe for the loss, but I think it's truth. I think it's truthfully, I mean, it just comes down to abortion, and it just feels like another one of those issues that they just left and right kicked the can down the road for so long on. It was so easy to be a political football, and it was so easy to grift off of, and like fundraise off of. And now that like Roe is actually fucked, like the Republicans who for the longest time were able to, puff their chest out and say like, I'm the most pro-life candidate out there. Now they actually have to draw a hard line in the sand. And
and that's the thing too with Kamala Harris. Everybody's like voting for Kamala Harris because of the abortion thing, but she's not going to bring Roe back. Like I don't think she's going to be able to. It's a state's issue, so it's like from what I understand, she's not even going to be able to do anything about it. It's more just similar to how the first Trump win was, where it's just like, hey, here's just like a fuck you to everybody. We're going to vote for Kamala because you did this, because voting for her is not going to bring like a federal abortion.
That's just it. I mean, it's so retarded, and it's honestly so blackpilling. Just like, I mean, it's like that Carlin joke about like 50% of the electorate or whatever. I mean, it's so true that like, the low information voters out there, people really are just retarded. The same thing exists with inflation. I'm pretty sure if you ask like the average voters, like, what do you think it means when either candidate says, I'm going to improve inflation? I think a good majority of them expect that to mean that like, no, the dollar menu is coming back. That means prices are going back down. It's prices like
are not going back down. Maybe if Kamala Harris can somehow, I mean, again, price controls don't ever work, and if she's going to implement it, people will be like, "Oh, this is awesome! My eggs are now like 20% cheaper." But you don't understand the second and third order effects of this stuff, where that they probably can't even predict, and then you're like, "Yeah, there's going to be crazy shit that's going to happen as a result that you can't even predict." I mean, obviously, the most predictable thing is shortages and stuff like that, but if you think you're like, oh, you just snap your fingers and you just make eggs 20% lower and there's no other effects from that, you're out of your fucking mind.
That's just it. And it's been so entertaining keeping up with this latest AI saga you've been on from, your brushing with Jake Tapper and like the most recent video. It's all been so hilarious to watch, but sort of just on the peripheral to that is like, as far as like the misinformation thing goes, what really sort of fucked me up was, the AI videos, the deep fakes and people falling for it, and it's easy to say like, oh, it's all boomers, but, study after study continues to come out, which shows that like, the Gen Z, the Zoomers are almost just as like technologically illiterate as the boomers are. And I think, even they have a hard time spotting these deep fakes. But aside from that, it's the stuff that doesn't fall neatly under the definition of like misinformation. But take, for instance, Trump's McDonald's stunt. It floored me. I couldn't believe it. You've got your people who are engagement farming and like are pundits or commentators, and they do this for a job. And so they're just always seeking to be outraged. But what was so crazy to me was all of these people on the left who are like, he didn't actually work at McDonald's, right?
Oh, sure.
Like, like he did it, but they were saying this seriously. And like at roundtable guests on CNN were making this point, like they may as well just said, he didn't clock in. Like,
yeah, I think those people are they're just playing politics at that point. They're just like, hey, they're trying to spin that as a positive for their side some way. And the only way they can really do it is, you didn't really work there and shit like that. But then,
it's just so elementary. I mean, it's just like, you just had a caller from Ireland. Like, I'm using Ireland as an example, but really take any Western country. Like, would this sort of retarded discourse fly anywhere other than the U.S., or are we just
for sure permanently fucked? No, for sure. This goes on everywhere. I don't think this is unique to the United States. Yeah. I don't think this is unique to the United States. This stuff's happening everywhere. People are like this everywhere. I think. Yeah. All right, Chris, I gotta let you go, man.
Yep, take it easy.
Thanks, man. Heroin, Chris, everybody. Don't do heroin. Shout out to Logan Sorter. Shout out Sumo the Doggo. Who is Sumo Dog? I've seen that mentioned many times. Should I give the wrenches back? Yes, 51%. No, 49%. It's a dead heat right now. Get your votes in for that, and make sure you like the stream, please. Hit that like button. please do so. I got another story that I want to get to, and then we're going to take some more calls. And make sure, if you want to join, again, 11:30, we're doing Low Value Mail overtime. We'll be covering all the stuff that I didn't get to in the main episode with some calls, only available for patrons, patreon.com/lowvaluemil, or you can just join the channel. Just hit that join button. I've been told that it's supposed to light up, but I don't know. Anyways, this is a crazy one. RFK is in the mix here. He's going to be, I don't know what exactly he's going to be doing. I know he's not touching that fucking sweet, sweet oil, if you believe Trump. But this is just, we talk about conspiracies. We have conspiracy-related guests on this show. And this used to be one of the main conspiracies. This is, I wish we could have like a conspiracy, like power rankings, like they do for sports and stuff, to see where this falls. But fluoride in the water this is a conspiracy that falls under, this is JFK, chemtrails. This is like one of those conspiracies, right? Fluoride in the water. RFK says, as a part of the Trump administration, I don't know. But so on January 20th, the Trump White House will advise all U.S. water systems to remove fluoride from public water. Fluoride is an industrial waste associated with arthritis, bone fractures, bone cancer, IQ loss, neurodevelopmental disorders, and thyroid disease, Kennedy, a former independent presidential candidate, wrote in a social media post. I think that health effects, and this is from a researcher, doctor, something like that, I think that health effects of fluoride on young children, particularly in the realm of neurodevelopment, have been sufficiently studied such that it has now been identified that a hazard to child IQ is present. However, I would argue that more research is needed to better understand impacts of chronic low-level fluoride exposure on adult health outcomes because that research is scarce, Malin said. So fluoride's bad now. That was from CNN. This wasn't fucking some out there fluoride conspiracy website. This isn't InfoWars. CNN now is basically saying, hey, fluoride might actually be bad for you. You know how fucking crazy that is to me? That was like tinfoil hat shit not long ago. And, they say fluoride in low doses is good because it hardens enamel on teeth, blah, blah, blah. In high doses, it's bad. But the problem is when they introduced it, as far as I understand, fluoride into the water, fluoride wasn't in all toothpaste, and fluoride's in everything. Like if you drink any soda, anything that's made with water as an input already has fluoride in it. So you're getting so much fluoride just from all the shit you ingest. Like probably when there was no such thing as bottled water, yeah, maybe fluoride was beneficial, but now you're getting it from so many different sources. They're saying, if you don't want kids to swallow toothpaste. How do you stop a kid from swallowing toothpaste? Like if you have a fucking 5-year-old who's brushing their teeth, how do you stop them from occasionally swallowing toothpaste? It seems nearly impossible from that happening, at least occasionally, right? But so that's where we're at, where RFK Jr. is saying, hey, we're going to ban fluoride, which the conspiracy, I had my friend who was like back in the day, OG conspiracy dude who was like, yeah, fluoride's so bad for you. It fucks with your pineal gland, all that stuff. And it was such a fringe thing to think fluoride was bad. And now we have CNN coming out being like, yeah, you know what? Fluoride might be bad for you. What is going on? What is going on? All right. We're going to take a call. If you're on hold, stay on hold. We will get to you. I promise we will get to you. We're going to take a call here. Hello. You're on Low Value Mail. Who am I speaking with?
This is Taylor.
Taylor, what's up, man? Where are you calling from? State.
Oh, I'm coming from Ohio.
Ohio. Trump country.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Did you vote?
Not yet. I was going to vote tomorrow.
Are you for sure voting tomorrow?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get out of work now. I'll go home. Go vote. go about the rest of my day.
Okay, so you're getting out there. You're not on the fence voter like Goob. You're actually doing it. So how you feeling about this? How you feeling about who's going to win?
I don't know. It's kind of a toss up here because I feel like at least where I am here, Ohio is a hard red state now.
Yeah,
so I don't worry about that. But like the rest of the country, who the fuck knows? That's the polls can say one thing, but they were wrong before.
It seems like literally just Pennsylvania, or they're saying essentially Frank Luntz, who's like this famous pollster dude, is basically saying, however Pennsylvania and Michigan goes, is that's how it's going to go. There's basically there's two states that are going to decide the entire thing. So I guess you guys go do your thing. Are you worried if Kamala Harris wins?
No, because I still have to go to work.
Right.
Just like I did when, everybody said the world was going to end. Or at least, everybody I'm in Trump country here. So the world was going to end in 2020 when Joe Biden, won. And then we all went to work for 4 years and here we are now.
Yeah, there is. I generally try and, not get swept up or even at all in any of like the doomerism people. Cause you're like this country is, no president can really derail them. Obviously, it matters. Yeah, it does matter who the president is to some degree. Obviously, you can get involved in wars. But like to think that if Trump was in office the last 4 years, they wouldn't have racked up this debt and all sorts of shit. There still would have been inflation. There still would have been all this stuff. Like at the end of the day, it was Trump who issued all the, printed all the new money during COVID. Trump was the one who locked down the country. Like, in my opinion, all the inflation came from all the money that was printed. Obviously, they were printing it. They were issuing it for way too long. But, the country's bigger than one president. There would be less illegal immigration for sure. Although they fought him on it so hard, do you imagine they would probably would have fought him on it for the last 4 years, and maybe it wouldn't have been that much worse. But so you're fine. You're just like, whatever is what it is. You're gonna go vote and then just see.
I'm not gonna lose any sleep over it, one way or the other.
Yeah, which is probably how it should be. I think some people make politics their entire identity and their entire lives.
Yeah, I feel like it's not worth it, like the stress of it.
Yeah,
you do that.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably, I think, coming at it the way you should, going about it the way you should. So you're in Ohio. I guess that's just going fully red. For the most part, the people you talk about, or the people you talk to anecdotally, is there any Kamala Harris support, even among women?
So I got to give you that one. Is the women, the abortion issue? That's their single thing. They could not care if eggs were $40 a dozen, and they couldn't afford to drive to work if they couldn't get an abortion.
Yeah. I mean, that's if she wins, it's going to be specifically that'll just be such a fuck up on their part.
Yeah, that is.
And here's the thing. I said at the beginning of the show, like, you're not getting Kamala Harris for 4 years. You're getting her for 8 years. And realistically, what she'll do in order to get elected a second time around is to kind of waffle on the abortion thing, not get anything done, and then promise it in her second term. She goes, I'll get abortions. Like, she's going to let the issue get a little worse. And then she goes, if you reelect me in 2028, then I'll give everybody their abortions back. So you're not even going to get your abortions back, in my opinion.
Just like a carrot on a stick, right?
Right. But you go, hey, it'll take some time to get this abortion thing done. We'll get it done in my second term. Vote for me then. And unless like she just makes a fucking complete mess of the whole thing where, people don't even care about it at that point where you can't, nobody can afford eggs. But yeah, women don't care about if costs are higher. They don't give a shit about that. They couldn't care.
I feel like that's like the student loan thing. It's like another infinite carrot on the stick for people.
Right. Yeah. I don't even know whatever happened with the student loan. I thought they did absolve some people.
Fell off.
I thought some people's student loans were absolved, or was it like vetoed by the higher courts or whatever? But I thought Biden did give some student loan relief to at least some people, but I could be wrong on that.
I don't know. Everybody I know with student loans are still crying about them, so
Right.
I'd assume they're still there.
Right, so that didn't do shit. All right, man. Well, thanks for calling in. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks, Danny.
Take care. Yeah, I mean, if she wins, it's going to be the women who do it, and it'll be abortion. I think that nothing could be more clear than that. Is women. I mean, I was saying to Ryan on the Boys Cast, but women be shopping. They don't give a shit about you being like, oh, your cost of living is a little lower. I don't care. Don't tell me what to do. Don't tread on me, if you will. Women are getting tread on in their opinions, and they would like to not be tread on. Hello, you're on Low Value Mail. Who am I speaking with?
You hear me?
Yes, sir.
What's up, bro?
How's it going?
I mean, yeah, I'll just keep saying, I already explained why I'm undecided. You know,
You're undecided, yeah?
We're either electing someone that'll destroy Israel or we're electing Hitler. But
yeah, it's a tough decision for you, huh?
yeah. I mean, hey, you know, Danny, if anything, and where some motherfucker knocks on my door, printing out or playing back what I said, I'm gonna thank you for always including the word comedy in the title of all of your videos, because that's all I'm gonna point out.
Yeah.
I don't care where the fuck I'm sitting. I could be sitting in a naked, whipped, and, you know, in Guantanamo. And I'll be like, it says comedy. You guys are retarded.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that, with your super understanding government. I don't think.
Oh no, I'm stubborn and retarded as shit.
Sure.
And yeah, I'll call them faggots all day.
Yeah.
Bro, if they hold any sort of fucking power in government,
yeah,
you know,
here's the thing,
enforcing or legislating. If they hold any power of enforcing or legislating, and they get hurt by words, you ain't fit for service. Fuck off.
Fair. That's fair. That's a fair point. I mean, the whole thing where obviously Trump says all sorts of shit that is not true, tons, and that whole thing where you're like, oh, if Kamala Harris wins, she's gonna destroy Israel. She's not gonna do shit. She's gonna be the fucking status quo. She has Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney backing her. What would Dick Cheney do about Israel? You think Dick Cheney's a big fucking anti-Israel guy?
Well,
hell no.
Well, okay.
Hell no.
Well, I mean,
they're going to be so pro-Israel. Nothing's going to happen to Israel. I mean, did you see? We're going to play the video in the after show. I got it queued up. But like CNN or something did some video where basically Kamala Harris is running in Michigan. She's running basically like "I stand with the Palestinians" ad, and then I think it was in New York or maybe Pennsylvania. Basically, like "I stand with Israel," like basically opposite ads for opposite markets, essentially. So in Michigan, which has a big Muslim population, she's like, "We're gonna, this war is gonna be over."
Danny, you don't have to remind me about unlikely allies. So yeah. You know how I feel about the carpet pilots. You know how I feel about the sodomites. We both know how they feel about each other.
Yep.
This is intersectionality. The horseshoe theory has gone four-dimensional.
Oh.
And we're witnessing it. It's interesting. So what is it? Before I just wanted to bring up, I just want to make my quick comment on the whole abortion thing. But before that, so there's been some what's that guy's name? What's his name? Luis Gomez? Yeah,
Luis
he
J.
has these things called he has these things called incidences. I mean, it's particular for his breed, but being a Puerto Rican.
Sure.
But what is it? I've seen such instances happen with people and what they wear, to the polls. And I was just wondering, like, whenever how people vilify that term MAGA and what it stood for, but when you say it out loud, like, imagine you're learning English, you're like, yeah, great is a positive adjective.
Absolutely.
Why would you not want to use a verb make for a noun, America?
Oh, we got Slav's English class now.
Yeah. What? So they vilified that. Fine, whatever. What about?
Is there? I guess there's a law here that you can't wear.
Make America healthy again.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, obviously, some people have. Did you see the Tucker Trump thing? I mean, dude, RFK for 30 minutes killed it. Even Forbes magazine has his RFK's 30-minute speech. Yeah.
Literally everything he said, you cannot disagree with at all.
I mean, who can argue against just making people more healthy? Now, how you go about doing it, that's another story. But I mean,
look. I understand your policy of not disparaging people who aren't here to defend themselves, but I think Lev for might,
Hey, Lev's on a health kick right now.
Yeah, well, hey, I told him to stop being fat to his face in Vegas. So
yeah, there you go.
I hope that worked.
That's something. He'll get down there.
But so that. Also you mentioned foreigners voting. You got me blocked on Instagram, but I wanted to show you there was a whole.
I don't have you blocked on Instagram. You say I blocked you on? I don't block anybody. I blocked you on Instagram.
It's all grayed out. No, I send you funny stuff, but
I don't block anybody.
There was one where there was a whole reel of foreign nationals who aren't citizens and are residents, and they're posting pictures of them voting for Trump, and they have their mostly European passports. There was one that was an Israeli passport, but I don't even know if that's considered illegal because, trade alert.
Yeah.
But
I just looked. I don't block. I'm not blocked on my Instagram.
I'm not saying for you to stand in line.
It would be funny if I did.
But
yeah. I'm not going to vote, dude. I'm not getting fucking deported. And
how about this?
Dude, you know how many people are like sitting in jail over like a funny gag? Sketch maybe. Oh no, I'm definitely gonna have once this dust settles on this, I have some sketch ideas for some AI sketches. But I mean, I worry about that shit because, again, Douglas Mackey, who actually is not in jail because he was managed to get some sort of appeal, but he's on bond currently. But dude, man, certain people do not take certain jokes in this country very funny, lighthearted. You see a joke about certain election stuff, and they go, "Hey, that's a crime."
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll keep saying, I've posted some, like, I've made comments that got, like, removed within a few minutes.
Sure.
And I just appealed.
Sure you have.
And come on, you already know. But I've appealed and I said this is acceptable. I say this is acceptable in my region. And, I'm in Dixie, so.
Right. Well, I mean, I always say that about, because on YouTube, the C word, cunt, which might get me demonetized right now, but you're like, that's just like a regular word in the UK and Australia.
You do realize in America it is what is it in the nations that have ever flown a Union Jack over their land at any period in time over the last 200 years, calling a birthing person a cow is more offensive than calling them a cunt, even though they possess a cunt.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So and then when you try that here, it's like, wait, guys, come on. I mean, this is the whole thing about self-censorship. People who would openly, like, whenever I told you guys are openly, verbally communist, I wasn't calling you guys communists and saying that you support it. It's just you guys censor yourselves. When there's magical words that affect, the feelings of certain groups of people that have clearly visible, distinctive appearances and behaviors,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Sure.
you opt for a different word. Yeah, self-censoring is the first step to slip down the slip and slide of communism.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know about that. That much might be civility.
well, it's called manufactured consent. So,
Sure.
I mean,
all right, Slav, I gotta let you go. Thanks, man.
but the abortion, just the abortion thing.
Yes, quickly.
So, if you look at the rest of the developed world, the ones who really ain't arguing about abortion, and the rest of the world can hear America bitching about this shit, they're at 15 weeks.
Yeah,
now,
which seems pretty normal. Seems pretty reasonable.
I can give the concession of, you got 15 weeks, but first of all, it's the same way I feel about vices, like strip clubs, hookers, and drugs.
15 weeks a year.
There's a term. Keep it sexy. Keep it discreet. Don't what really upsets people and drives pro-life, like super pro-lifers, is the public celebration of this.
I agree.
Like
the being proud over an abortion is what turns off so many regular people. You're like, you should be upset the fact that you had to have an abortion. Like, you should have it if you need it. But don't be like, I remember the week I moved to New York, I went to the Knitting Factory, which doesn't exist anymore, but it was this famous comedy club in Brooklyn. And who is it? Hannibal Buress used to have a show there forever. And like, it became this like huge thing. And I watched this like super, just like, Bushwick style comedy show. And there's all these girls going up. And this one girl went up and she's like, yeah, I got an abortion. Everybody was just like cheering for her. And all I can think of is like, so fucked up. Like you should be like, if you had an abortion, like you should be bummed about it. It shouldn't be like a point of pride.
Well, nobody, like, you should just keep it to yourself, honestly.
Sure. Or you
like,
bring
honestly,
it up as like a cautionary
it
tale of like, hey, be more careful. I had to have an abortion. It was traumatic. Not like fucking, yes, queen, I had an abortion. It's just like so off-putting to so many fucking normal people.
Like, it is to the point where it's like, bro, why can't you just feel about the abortion like the same way, like, you just woke up, last night you blacked out, and you're, like, from drinking, and you're like, fuck, like, what the fuck did I actually do? And you'd be like, I hope I didn't do that. And yeah.
Sure.
Like, to that point, or, because also, all these pro-choicers, it's like, they're getting to the point of, they wish immaculate conception was real, because how the fuck can you talk about abortion being a women's issue? I mean, clearly the women are the one carrying, the fetus, or they call them clump cells or whatever. But I'm sorry, you need a dude to make that shit.
Sure.
So,
I mean, obviously, I understand their argument, and the main argument is not even against it ends up just going to the edge case of like, hey, what happens when, you have some event where your like child is dying inside of you and you need it to be removed. Otherwise, like, you could die. And then they are like, oh, some states are like, the doctor's like, I don't know if I'm allowed to do this. And then women see that and they're like, I see that. I'm like, yeah, that's fucked up. Like, you should give her a fucking abortion.
And what's funny is Jon Stewart, many, many, many years ago when I was a little kid and I watched the show when it was still the old logo, he literally went full autistic on the Second Amendment. But he was like, you're basically like, your militia can have its own militia. Like, bro, Danny, start making kids, start creating your own family militia, dog. Like,
yeah,
this is the one way you could fast track your citizenship.
I don't think I'm gonna have a family militia. But anyways, Slav, thanks, man. I gotta let you go.
And then what is it? I'm gonna leave you with this one idea because you like business ideas.
Sure.
Can you make a shirt where it's the Gadsden flag, the "Don't Tread on Me" with the rattlesnake? But can you have it? Shout out, rest in peace, Squirrel and Fred.
Yep.
I mean, what is it? Peanut and Fred. Yeah.
Peanut and Fred.
If you guys can put out merch, it's a nice, clean pocket T-shirt, and the pocket is just yellow with a friendly rattlesnake and a friendly squirrel and a friendly coon just standing on a pile of grass. And then the whole shirt is like gray, tan, black, whatever color. It's just the pocket square that's yellow.
Sure. Not a bad idea. Maybe you should
All
make
right,
that. I think.
night.
Yeah, later, man. Slav, everybody. I think I've seen that some sort of version of that going around Twitter. But yeah, that would be good merch. All right, let's take another call here. Thank you, everybody, for joining me on this election eve, the most important election of your lives. Until the next one. Hello, you're on Low Value Mail.
Hey, Danny, it's Sean from Pittsburgh.
Sean from Pittsburgh. What's up, man?
Nothing, man. So I just want to tell you about the voting experience here in Allegheny County.
Cool. And you're in one of the you're in one of the fucking hot spots, man. Your crackhead neighbor might decide this whole election for everyone in the country.
My crackhead neighbor has a Harris Waltz sign in front of her house. Just so you know about that.
Yeah, because she's fucking don't fuck with her abortions.
All right. So back in 2016, I used to live in central Pennsylvania, like deep, 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 deep red.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to vote for Donald Trump because, just because. And I couldn't vote for Hillary Clinton because she's obviously a fucking evil cunt.
Yep.
So at that point, I decided that I was going to vote for Jill Stein. Okay. And I did. I was happy with it. A couple months later, after the election was over, I looked at the voter turnout for who voted for who and whatever. So I was like, who voted for Jill Stein in my county? 253 people voted for Jill Stein.
Okay.
And
what's the size of the county?
I can't remember how many people lived in that county, but it was central. It was Blair County in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So I was told by I worked at a car dealership out there, and I was told by people. There you go. It's not many.
Yeah.
I was told by people on either side when I said I was going to vote for Jill Stein that people on the Trump side said, we're like, oh, you're throwing away your vote to Hillary. People on the Hillary side, well, you're throwing away your fucking vote to Trump. And I told them, no, I'm voting for who I'm voting for.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
So now that leads us up to tomorrow. I know that Allegheny County historically has always been a blue county,
mm-hmm.
and the turnout for Jill Stein is going to be insignificant at best. So I am just not going to bother going to vote because I can't vote for either one of the two big retards going.
Yeah.
And I would just rather be sitting on the couch or playing with my dog tomorrow. So
sure.
Fuck voting, dude.
Sure. I mean, that is, from what I see, that is maybe both parties, their biggest issue is just people who are kind of just don't want to vote. I can't remember what they call them, but people who are just kind of on the sidelines and don't even know if they're going to vote at all. And here's the thing, though. If every person like you, now I guess if you're saying because it's for sure gonna, if it's always blue, then you're like, what's the point? But if every person like you, which there's probably a lot, all did vote, like it might be consequential. Assuming you voted for not the winning party, but again, you obviously don't want to vote for Trump, so. I guess for you.
Well, so here's the thing, though, Danny. I would love to vote for Jill Stein because she's anti-war, she's anti-genocide, but she's pro the Green New Deal, so I can't even vote for her.
Isn't there some scenario, though, where you go, hey, there's one candidate who would be better than the others, and that's who I'll vote for, and obviously you're not going to get everything you want, which generally will never be the case. Like, if you're waiting to vote for the candidate here's everything you like, you'll never vote.
Well, no, exactly. Nobody is going to ever meet my very specific criteria, and therefore nobody's going to get my vote.
So you're just not going to vote?
No, absolutely not. Like I said, I'm going to come home and play with my dog. Shout out Smuckers.
What up, Smuckers?
There you go. Also, shout out Sumo Dog.
Yeah, shout out Sumo Dog, and shout out my dog Connor sitting at home. Yeah,
I didn't know your dog was called Connor. Shout out Connor.
His name is Connor. Yeah, he has a very good chance of being a successful NHL hockey player just based on that name alone. Yeah.
Well, and it sounds like he could potentially be a successful racist dog as well, just like mine.
He's racist. Yeah, he's definitely pretty racist. We've had to have some talks
Hell yeah.
about that.
No, that's it for me, Danny. I'll let everybody else get to it. Love you,
Thanks,
man. Later.
Sean, thanks, buddy. Sean from Pittsburgh, everybody. Yeah. Many such cases. It seems like people who are just not voting. They don't want to vote. They don't like what's going on, and they're just going to sit back and just see how it goes. And it's understandable. Hello, Rube Star. You are on the line.
Yeah, Danny, I feel exactly the same way. I kind of want to sit this one out, honestly.
Yeah.
This voting.
Yeah, you're not doing
but
it.
I might still go to the polls. I don't know. We'll see what tomorrow brings.
Okay, let's do a quick astrology on both main candidates. June 14th, 1946, Donald Trump.
Well, number one, he's the day of gutsy confrontation. It's the most amazing thing. The book that I'm all into, it has a little picture on your day. If you remember, I sent you a page of yours.
Yep.
His is a little rooster standing up to a big rooster.
Oh, he's the little rooster.
Yeah, gutsy confrontation. They're not afraid. So, and I've known so many people in that week. The best way to describe them, some of them is, if I ask 100 girls to go out, 1 or 2 will say yes. You know?
Not bad.
Yeah. But, shit. Kind of caught me off guard with the astrology there.
How?
Well, because there's some other stuff I was going to talk about.
Okay.
But he's on the path of experience.
Yeah, go ahead.
He's on the path of experience, and ironically, let me make sure I got this right. So is Kamala Harris.
Yeah, she's October 20th, 1964.
Danny, I know somebody with the exact same birthday as her. Not only that, her running mate, Tim Waltz, is born in 64. They're the same age, if you could believe it. And it's the year of the wood dragon, and they're both dragons. So you kind of think that would play in their favor. Well, you kind of think, well, it would play in their favor, right? You know, be lucky for them. But I can't think of any examples where that paid off and that was true. But what I wanted to talk about was
go ahead.
If having a woman president is such a big deal, why would Biden not step down right now and just give her the throne?
Well, because
does that seem odd to you?
I think he's not happy about the fact that he's not currently running, and I think that would vindicate the whole blood. Petty? Yeah, I think that would vindicate the entire bloodless coup element of the scenario, where he's just like, yeah, I thought I was fine. Obviously, you know, people disagree with him, but I'm sure in his mind, he's like, yeah, I was more than fine to run for president. She's not that great of a candidate, and I don't think he even wants to toss her that bone. Maybe if she loses, if she gets smoked, maybe he steps down just to give her a month of being the president, just to see what it's like. I don't know, maybe, but I still don't see that happening.
I came up with 3 reasons why that might be the case. Okay, if she becomes a president now, how many times from here forward can she be elected?
1 more.
So it's like you said.
Oh, wait, sorry. If she became president now, could like for the next couple months, you're saying? That I don't know. I don't know if that counts.
Could she get one? Can she run 2 more times after that?
My guess would be yes, just because I feel like they wouldn't count that as a term. I feel like they'd.
So then maybe it's an old boys club, and they just never let women in, no matter what. That could be a possibility, right?
I mean, this is now the second woman running in 8 years. Like, it's not like they're not trying. I mean, you gotta win. I mean, if Hillary Clinton had Roe v. Wade fucking struck down before she got in office, she would have been an absolute lock. She would have swept that thing against Donald Trump, especially with the grab her by the pussy stuff and all that shit. Oh, man. That would have been a lock. But, yeah, I mean, nobody's stopping women from being president. I mean, there's currently a woman vice president, and there's a woman who's running for president who is, by all accounts, a coin flip to win. So Trump just went up another percent on poly market. He's now 60-40. So his odds are climbing.
Yeah, Donald Trump, if it's a fair election, he's a shoo-in. I mean, you just look at his rallies. He draws crowds. People want him, whether they're vocal about it or not. The other side,
yeah, but women,
nobody goes. You have to pay. You have to pay people to go. You have to pay for endorsements. You have to spend all this money. You have to do all this, just to get anybody even talk about her.
Yeah. I mean, there are people who are pumped about her, like to make it seem like, there aren't, she has some rallies where she does decent numbers. They keep showing all these like little tiny towns in Pennsylvania the last couple of days, and they're like Trump too. He had one in Reading and it was not that busy, but you're like, this is like middle of the week. It's like a Monday afternoon in some smaller place. And you're like, yeah, you're not going to have 20,000 people, but his crowd at Madison Square Garden was impressive.
Oh, and I'm totally on Tony's side with that whole comment he made. Okay, so if it's this is what you got me stumped
But so you're
on.
You're not voting, just to be.
I'm either going to vote for Trump or Dr. Shiva.
Dr. Shiva's on the ballot where you are. Why would you waste your fucking day voting for Dr. Shiva?
It's just the way I roll, Danny. I've never voted. I voted in every election since I could. I've always voted third party.
Oh, okay.
I'm just
fair enough.
But with Trump having RFK on his side, I'm kind of digging Trump, man.
I mean, I really like the.
I give it to the guy.
I really like the Elon Musk thing. Like, if Elon Musk is talking about cutting $2 trillion with a T from the budget, just to see how that might work would be worthwhile of having him, just to see, like, can Elon do shit? Can he get anything done? What does that look like? Like, just that
Nobody
alone.
cares about the budget, man. Nobody cares about the budget.
Well, they fucking should. I mean, they should. It's, this country is like teetering,
making people rich. Making people rich.
Yeah, but that is a way of helping everybody by lowering the debt. I mean, dude, the debt service payments of this country are astronomical.
Danny, do you really think Biden's in charge?
No.
You really think he's calling the shots? Okay, so then it wouldn't be up to him to step down. It would be up to the powers that be, the powers behind the scene.
Well, the powers behind
Kamala
the scenes turn the screws on him to not run, obviously, by threatening. I mean, again, it was a bunch of rich donors who basically did that, but I don't think they can make him step down. Not at this point. But no, I don't think he's running much of anything. He's kind of just there.
I tell you, I've been watching Biden for years, since probably I was 18. I remember the first time I seen him in his fake tan on TV, and they said he was a CFR member. In my opinion, that is not Joe Biden. There's at least 2 different, maybe 4 different people playing him.
Interesting.
So one of them,
theory?
He's supposed to be taller than Benjamin Netanyahu,
Yeah.
or no. Benjamin Netanyahu is supposed to be taller than him, and there's one standing like 2 inches above him. Are you familiar with that?
I remember seeing the photo. There was one photo where there was like, they were showing where there was the height stuff where they were saying this is not Joe Biden, it's a body double. I mean, other countries do that shit. That would be tough to imagine that they swapped in a perfect body or a fairly perfect body double. But why not put... Oh, well, you're saying this one was shorter?
No, this one was way taller.
This one was way taller.
This Biden was way taller.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, I feel like it doesn't even matter because he's got a couple months left, and that's that.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. If that's the case, how many Trumps are there? Or how many Kamalas? Is there only one Kamala out there? Does she got the body double? Does Trump got the body double?
Yeah. I mean, it's like it's like when there were two Undertakers back in the day. I don't know if you watch wrestling, but
no.
And wrestling and
No.
WWF. They introduced the second Undertaker, and there's two Undertakers.
Oh my God! I made fun of this Down syndrome kid one time wearing an Undertaker shirt. He was ready to destroy me. He was going to kill me. I worked at this restaurant.
I'm on his side now.
The owner got like 5 mentally challenged people that would get bussed in to do the job of one person washing dishes. And he was like, Ruben, do not harass these kids. Or they weren't kids, they were adults.
Yeah.
And, oh, man, Danny, I tortured some of them. I mean, atomic wedgies. The one guy loved bacon.
You're an adult giving people, you're giving mentally handicapped people
I just love
wedgies.
To torture them. I'm not healthy.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Sounds like it. All right, Rube. So you're not voting tomorrow. It doesn't sound like it.
I might. Hard to say. The other thing is, and I don't know if you have time for it now, but just throw it out there.
Got to be quick. We got a lot of people in the queue here.
It kills me when you talk about flat Earth because you guys always get it so wrong. So sometime I'm going to have to just straighten you out on it, just so you know what the situation is.
Okay. Well, yeah, maybe next episode you can school me on flat Earth.
Okay, so be it.
All right, Rube Star, everybody.
All right, peace out.
Rube Star, everybody. All right. If you're on hold, please stay on hold. We will get to you. Phone lines are closed now. I don't think we'll get to many more callers, but maybe I'll reopen them. We'll see. All right. Let's take some calls here. Thank you very much for joining me, everybody. Please like this stream, subscribe to the channel, patreon.com/lowvaluemail for the after show. Hello. You're on Low Value Mail.
Hey, Danny. What's up? It's Charlie.
Charlie, what's up, man?
How you doing, man? I'm from Florida.
Yep.
I voted last week.
Okay.
I voted for Trump.
Yep.
So,
you think the Puerto Ricans
are
gonna, the million Puerto Ricans in Florida are gonna fuck some shit up?
I don't know. It's like I feel like they don't care about, like, you know, that's what the crazy thing about the media is. Like, it makes you think that people care about things and they really don't.
Well, they decide what the issues are, right? Like, if the media all in concert didn't decide that this Puerto Rico joke was the biggest story in the world, then it's just not. Like, it's just a thing that got said. But
I love Tony Hinchcliffe. Like, that's one of my favorite podcasts to watch. But
yeah, Tony's a man.
I love you guys too.
But yeah, they decide.
I just thought, I guess I'm one of the few people too that actually thought the joke was hilarious. I actually laughed at the joke.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a bad joke. It was just the wrong place for it, in my opinion.
It's the wrong place for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm kind of confused as to what's going to happen. I don't know. Like,
what about what about the Floridian women that you know? What are they talking about?
You know, that's the thing. A lot of women in Florida are very conservative. They're voting for Trump. That's the weird thing too. Is like that one caller. I agreed with him before about how he was talking about how, like, it's not only boomers that, like, get fooled by things, because I'm a millennial. Like, I was born in 1980, so I guess I'm a millennial and Gen X kind of.
Yeah,
but,
you're right on the edge of millennial.
Yeah, and like, I feel the same way. There's a lot of shit that I see where I'm like, is this really the way everybody thinks, or is this just social media, like, building this up? Is this just a very small percentage of what people think? But there's things that I get fooled by too. Like, I don't understand. I don't know what's reality or not sometimes.
Sure. And it's only going to get more difficult as things go along. That I can promise you.
Yeah, I think so too. And like the censorship thing, I heard you guys talk about it on the Boys Cast about how you weren't sure about which way the censorship issue was going to go, even if especially if Trump wins, you thought maybe it might even get worse. So that's a thing to worry about.
Potentially, like, I could see if Kamala wins, they come after X in some capacity, like Twitter, saying, like, You know, especially if they are like crying Russian disinformation and somehow like it starts as a loss and then turns into a Democratic win. And then they're going to be like, yeah, X is this cesspool of misinformation. And, you know, it's like you can tie them up in all sorts of legal problems and make their lives miserable. Like Musk says he's not going to abide by it. But, I mean, he's made himself definitely a huge target. Huge.
I guess it's hard for him too because so many people have their own individual, I guess, sponsors and things like that, so they can kind of give him a hard time on certain things. Although he does own Twitter, so I guess maybe he has the last word as to what.
I mean, but he doesn't own it by himself. Like, there's a lot of big investors in it, and at the end of the day, like, it needs to at some point make money. Like he, you know, as much as it's this pet project for him, you're like, the investors are going to want to see some return on their money, or at least be promised there's some date when this thing will start, you know, being profitable.
Well, it is crazy that the amount of censorship still. Yeah, exactly. The amount of censorship still is kind of crazy. It's much better since he took over, but like what's really wild to me is how you can see in real time like pictures and videos of like people being like killed.
Yep.
Like crazy shit that you would never even want to see. And then if you write a joke that like is offensive, they might not let that be uploaded or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's still certain words that trigger. Yep.
Yeah.
A Slav word, if you will. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say how it'll go. Like, obviously, if Trump wins in some kind of landslide, I don't think they'll have like enough political capital or will to maybe increase the censorship, especially because, you know, with Elon, like, he's kind of running on less censorship. But, you know, you like, I guess he could start coming after Google and Facebook and Meta or whatever and make them censor less. And, you know, they probably have eased up a little bit. Like, I thought this election cycle would actually have been more crazy for censorship on things like YouTube and Google, even though they obviously were suppressing like the Joe Rogan Trump podcast, but like Meta and things like that. I've posted some things on Meta where I was like, or on Instagram where I was like, oh, this is going to get taken down for sure. And it didn't. Like some of the AI videos I was making, I thought for sure just with the election cycle.
I love those.
Thank you. But I thought I had a few where I thought I was going to for sure get in trouble for or get taken down or whatever.
Oh, I would certainly be like scared to.
Yeah. I did get a strike on my YouTube channel for the Call Her Daddy video. I got,
really?
Yeah, the call. Wow. Yeah, I got for bullying, basically for bullying. Fucking
bullying. Oh
Kamala
my God.
For cyberbullying Kamala Harris. I did get a strike on that.
Cyberbullying.
Yeah, but other than that, I haven't had any issues. So, but yeah, so the women in Florida, they're just pro-Trump.
Most of them of the ones that I know are Trump people. You know, it's. The crazy thing is like how to me is like I never really cared much about politics in the past. I was always like kind of an independent, middle of the road person on like things on
which
both
I think
sides.
is most people I would say are.
I think most people are too. And then for some reason, for whatever reason, in 2016, when he got elected, people just went batshit fucking nuts. And I saw people that I knew that I went to school with that they stopped talking to like they got divorced. They stopped talking to their parents. Like I know somebody who hasn't talked to his parents in 8 years because they voted for Trump.
And that guy,
unbelievable.
Or whatever, that guy or girl is a guy or girl.
It's a dude. Yeah, it's a guy.
That's crazy because he can look. I guess the only thing they can look at is they're like, well, yeah, abortions are harder to combat. You know, he probably
they believe he's like hook, line, and sinker. Believes the racism shit about like the immigration. He believes that, you know, which is crazy because like you believe that Trump is racist, and how come there's all these people, you know, black people, Hispanic people who are voting for him? And
of course, and like I mean, even with the abortion issue in Florida, like don't they have a ballot measure right now in Florida for abortion to basically make it like 16 weeks or something, like pretty reasonable?
Yeah. I mean, that's probably, I would agree with the other guy there. If that was the reason that she won, that would probably be the reason. That would probably be the sole issue. Because it is such a is such a difficult topic that nobody can really seem to come to an agreement on, you know. But I think that the majority of people like in Florida are definitely like it's definitely a red state for sure.
Yeah. Do you think weed will get legalized there? Even though she's saying that she'll do it, but I think he said he'll do it too. But
now she's saying she's going to do that. Yeah,
I think they're both. Yeah, I think they're both going to do it.
I think it will. I think it should. I mean, I believe it should, but like I think it will. I think it definitely will because obviously it's medicinally it's legal and so many people use it and have benefited from it, and I think it probably will. I believe it will. I hope so.
Yeah, but it'll pass.
I hope so. 2020 was really weird because 2020 was weird because of like how that happened with that. Like COVID had just happened, and then like all this weird stuff with the mail-in shit and all that, and then it went on for like 3 months, and nobody knew what was. Everybody was like contesting it and not knowing exactly what to make of it, and that's where all the stuff came from. They thought COVID was like done deliberately to do that, you know, and maybe it was. I don't know, but.
Might have been. Not saying that on YouTube, Google.
Not saying that on YouTube, no.
No, we're not. All right, man. I got to let you go just because we got a bunch of callers.
All right, man. Well, good luck. Have a good night.
You too. Charlie from Florida. Just want to read Drew Huntley's super chat. Shout out to Sumo the Sport, but mostly Squeeze's dog Sumo. Also, special thanks to Sean from Pittsburgh's Dog Smuckers. Love the dog love. Love the dogs with the dog love in the chat. Sumo the Sport. Me and Ryan went and saw some exhibition in Brooklyn this summer, and it sucked. One of the worst things that I ever did. The current wrenches poll, 52% say no. I should not give them back. You have very little time to vote still, just like in real life. So get those votes in. And we shall see. We are going to go to... Conspiracy extremist. Is he there? Did I not press the button? Thanks for everybody for joining the show on this election eve. Like the stream, subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and if you want to join the channel, you can do so. You can get access to the after show, the low value mail overtime. All right, well, he's not picking up. Let's try somebody else. Knowing what'll happen is they'll both do it at the same time. Hello, you're on low value mail.
Danny.
What's happening?
Grant Leahy from Gainesville, Florida.
Grant Leahy from Gainesville, Florida. Grant, I was recently hanging out with your congresswoman.
You said the exact same thing last time I called.
Oh, okay. I forgot that you called in.
Did you want to say something specific about that experience? I feel like that's something you want to talk about.
But if you ever jammed up, Grant, you need a little lifeline, hit me up. Put the word in.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we help people on low value mail. Also, shout out to everybody who contributed also to the GoFundMe for Vonnie. I actually spoke with Vonnie again this week, and we're trying to get her sorted out actually. But Vonnie is we raised like probably close to $1,000 for her, so that was pretty cool. She's in a real job.
Who is that?
This woman called in last week, Vonnie, and she's basically just living in her car.
Right.
Everybody thinks it was a scam. All the people who thought it was a scam, I can assure you it's not a scam. I talked to her on the phone again, and it's not a scam.
She was hyped up. She had a lot to say.
Yeah, she had a lot to say, but that's what happens when you get fucked over. Grant, are you voting?
Yes. I'm voting tomorrow like a real American on day of. That's how you do it. And a little pro tip for people who don't really know how to vote. You'll probably get something in the mail that'll say Democratic Voter Guide, and it will tell you how to vote to be a Democrat.
Is it that complex?
I mean, things like sheriff, like I'm sure that's really important, right? Like whoever's sheriff is probably really important. So I want to make the right choice. So I just look at the guide that they gave me and they say this guy. So I vote for the other guy.
Gotcha.
See, that's how it works.
Gotcha.
You just use the Democratic. It's a perfect guide because I know exactly what they want to do to the schools and whatnot.
Yeah.
Abortion rights, for instance, they say yes. I'm definitely voting no on that.
yeah, you are, you dirty dog.
Ah,
I don't know,
so,
Grant. You know, you can tell me if I'm wrong or not, but I feel like you've been on the paying end of some abortions in your life.
I have a low sperm count, Danny.
Oh, gotcha.
So I've never gotten anyone pregnant ever, and I've just been able to come in every girl ever.
Nice.
It's a great life.
Nice.
Yeah. So, two things I wanted to mention really quickly. One, this is why I'm calling in, these two reasons. Not so much the voting. One, you guys have this thing on the other show about washing your legs.
Yes.
Matt Pat, do you know Game Theory, that guy?
No, I don't know him. I know of Game Theory.
No? Okay, well, he's a big YouTube guy.
Okay.
He's a big YouTube guy. He does Game Theory. He has a bunch of channels. One of his channels, for whatever reasons, they put things on people's legs and then had them shower normally how they would normally shower. And 100% of the time, the substance would come off their legs without them washing it.
Oh,
I do wash my toes, but
vindication.
I do feel like there is an actual definitive answer for that. But beyond that, the other thing is was it Rube or who was it that called in and talked about drinking their own piss?
That was Rube. That was Rube. Rube juice.
Rube. Okay, some Rube juice, gross. So I don't do that, but he mentioned he hadn't gotten sick. And I haven't been sick ever. I recently called my mom to make sure this was true, and she's like, no, there was a couple times you didn't go to school, but I specifically remember pretending to be sick so I didn't go to school. I'm wondering how common or uncommon it is to actually get sick. And I know you're a traveling comedian. You're traveling around. You're meeting a bunch of different germs all the time.
I shake a lot of hands. I don't really. Recently I've made a point where I'll wash my hands a little more. I was never like a huge hand washer.
Yeah.
Basically, like I only wash my hands if they were dirty or after I use the restroom, and
and you want to lick them right after you. Right after a good handshake, you want to lick your hand.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't get really sick a lot. Knock on wood. I don't really get sick very often. I'm trying to think of the last time I've been proper sick. I had one time last year.
Recent, right? Your voice was all fucked up recently on the Boy Scouts. I thought you and Ryan were both sick.
Like the episode that came out today? The one this morning?
No, no, it would have been.
That one is, I sometimes have allergies, and like yesterday.
Okay, maybe that's what it was.
Like yesterday we recorded an episode, and it was really cold outside, and I didn't have a jacket, and I think maybe because of that my nose was just like started running, but that's like the extent of it. But I think last year I maybe had like 1 24-hour where I was like, I felt like I had a little bug, and I just slept it off, and I was fine the next morning.
So I'm curious about that though. If you want to ask someone a weird question regularly on a show, it would be great if you switched it to when was the last time you were actually sick? Because I really don't, like, my coworkers never get sick. I never get sick. Nobody I know ever gets sick. It's very strange.
Yeah.
That there's supposedly people are dying of the flu all the time, but I don't know anyone.
But you're probably like,
I don't know.
You're of an age where you're fairly healthy, and
46. I'm 46, man. I'm an old man.
Yeah, you're not actually though. Actually, to think of it, the last time I was actually sick, besides that one last year, was COVID in like February of 2020. Lev Fur.
See, I never got COVID either, and all my coworkers got COVID. Everyone was sick around me, and I didn't get it.
Yeah, see, I was pretty sick, but that was before we knew that was COVID. COVID was just kind of like this thing that was happening in China. So then I got sick. I just remember because it was one of those things where I was sick for really sick for like a day or two, and then I had like 5 days where I was like, man, I just can't shake this thing. What is this? And then all the COVID stuff happened, and I go, gotcha, that's what that was. But
I remember like December of 2019, like one of my coworkers came back from Las Vegas traveling or whatever, and just had this cough that was like this. Do you remember that deep, gross, wet cough that COVID people had?
But I think it was a dry. It was like a dry cough, though, is what they were saying. Because I remember
it was kind of right. Yeah, it was. It was just like a. Because
I was literally specifically remember I was playing poker at Lev Fur's house, and this was in early 2020, and COVID was. They were saying, you have a dry cough, and then Lev was like, I was just so sick, and I had this dry cough, and I was like, dude, you had a fucking. You had COVID, obviously. And he's like, really? And then I got it. Like, everybody who's there got it, like, in the following week. So,
yeah, got it. Gotcha. I haven't. I don't think I've ever been sick. Like I said, I just asked my mom recently to check that out, and I wonder how many people.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think I do.
Okay.
Knowing my parents, I definitely do not. And I drink all the time. I drink like a fucking fish, and I smoke like a couple of packs a day. Like I am not a healthy person, but I just don't get sick, and I'm wondering how common that is.
Huh. All right. Well, maybe I'll put up a poll. We'll see how
do without drinking piss. Mention not drinking the piss.
Yeah. Piss doesn't count.
That's not part of it.
That's like.
Hey, buddy, it was good to talk to you, man. It was good to talk to you. It would be really interesting. It will be really interesting to see the next 4 years. Like no matter who wins, it's gonna be really weird.
It's
gonna be really weird no matter what.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, man.
All right, buddy. Have a great night.
Grant from Gainesville, Florida. Yeah, it's always gonna be the 4 years. It's just America. This is just. It's how it goes. Everybody loves American politics. It's top of mind all across the world, isn't it? All right, 6 more calls. Don't forget 11:30 Low Value Mail. The debut of Low Value Mail Overtime will be happening. Hello.
Hey, Danny, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, Danny, this is Peyton calling out of Houston, Texas.
Peyton? Sounds like you're a first-time caller. I don't recall a Peyton ever calling in.
Yeah, this would be my first time, Danny.
Excellent.
To hang out with
love to hear it.
The highest of low-value men. So.
The highest of low-value men? Congrats, man.
Yeah.
Are you voting?
I have already voted. I have did the early voting.
Nice.
Took the wife, and it was her first time voting, actually.
Did you make sure she voted for the right candidate? Did you hover over
I don't know.
her?
I mean, you've seen those commercials lately for
I have
saying, "Hey, it's okay." Yeah.
Well, this is obviously anecdotal, but there's this guy who I follow on Twitter, Ramit Sethi. He's like some finance guy or whatever, and he posted, I think, on his Instagram saying like, "Hey, are you voting differently than what your husband thinks?" And then vice versa. Are you voting differently than what your wife thinks? And like one guy responded to him saying like, yeah, my wife thinks I'm voting for Trump, but I'm not. But he's like, I got hundreds of messages from women basically saying my husband thinks I'm voting for Trump, but I'm voting for Kamala.
Dude, I believe it.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, it's interesting for me because as crazy as like tomorrow is going to be, because really the way I figured everything's on the table. I'm down here in Houston, around in Texas, right?
Yeah.
We're going to have our own stock exchange. We've been in a country before, so who knows? We could be again one day.
Were you guys Mexico?
I'm saying, yeah. So a little bit of fun Texas history for you.
Yeah. Let's hear it.
Used to be owned by Mexico, and then I don't know if you ever heard like the Alamo, but it's a crazy story.
Yeah, of course.
A bunch of entrepreneurs got jailed, and they're like, hey, you know what? No taxation without representation. It's kind of like a mini version of what happened in U.S. history, but within just Texas. And so the same kind of process, became its own nation, only about 4 years, and then, we moved on, got annexed and joined states. But with elections specifically, I'm sitting here thinking, 20 years from now, where is the Democratic Party going to be? Because think about what is their growth strategy?
Yeah.
If you want to talk about long-term growth, and nobody talks about this, but for the Democratic Party, how are they going to grow? I mean, they kill their kids, right? They buy, castration of your kids prepubescent, right? And then they promote abortion. So how do you grow your party long term?
I guess the Republicans would say import them.
Yeah, that would probably be the biggest thing, right? So I think, what rolls through my mind, and I was a Trump guy, I did vote for Trump. Sitting there saying, well, if you're Kamala and you're the Democratic Party, it's like, hey, here's your chance to really lock it down. Right? This is why it's such a pivotal election for them, because like, how else are you going to grow it?
Yeah. I mean, what candidate do you even have in 4 years from now? Maybe we have no idea. But I mean, what they have to do is they have to come back to the center a bit, you know? Like, it is crazy because if they lose if Trump wins, legitimately one of the reasons will straight up just be like, normal people don't want men in women's sports. Like, such a fringe issue that touches like almost nobody, but people are like so just offended by it, they're just like intellectually offended that they're like, we're even having this fucking debate. They're like, people who don't give a shit about trans people, they're like, I don't care if you want to be trans, but you know, we're crossing a line, and if nobody's gonna say, hey, this is crazy, obviously, then we're voting for Trump. Like, that's what you're getting, because you guys just can't be reasonable. Like, most people are just reasonable. Just like, give us a fucking candidate who's just like a reasonable person, and we'll vote for you, you know?
Yeah. And maybe it's me, and maybe I got some of those old Baptist roots I grew up with in me, but I like to think of things to a logical conclusion. Like, you take faith, you take religion, anything out of it. Logically, where do you end up? Where does your family end up? Right? If these are the ideas you constantly promote, okay, well, I'm not going to have grandkids. And then, like, my wife's come to me. She's the first time she ever really paid attention. She's like, I love all these celebrities, but why are they coming out saying that they want to vote for Harris, right? Why do they want to say to their, give their basically kids permission to kill their grandkids?
Well, they love them. Well, they love abortion, and I mean, the thing with my wife said the same thing, because my wife keeps seeing all these celebrities endorse Harris, and she's like, why do all the, and you're like, because that's the only candidate they're allowed to endorse. It's a signaling thing where they just send a signal to everybody else in Hollywood, being like, hey, I'm I'm one of the good guys. I'm on the good team. Like, you can keep employing me. Like, it was, I mean, now it's a little less so, but if you're some big time actor who's like really working big time actor and you come out as a Trump supporter, like, it just, you're going to have like, most of Hollywood is people who work in Hollywood are just like super liberal. They're not even like a little liberal. They're incredibly liberal. And it's just like a self-preservation thing. If you say, hey, I voted for Kamala Harris, like, you get to keep working. Now you can just keep your mouth shut. Like, Adam Sandler famously, for people who probably don't know this, he's not a political guy at all. He doesn't talk about politics. He's smart. He's just like, I'm a comedian. I do comedy stuff. But everybody who kind of knows him, you're like, yeah, he's a big time Republican. He would never admit that. And you can't prove it, but he is. But it's like, for him to come out and say, like, hey, one, you alienate so many of your audience, right? Like, if you're an actor, even if you come out and say, I'm endorsing Kamala Harris, there's some subset of people who are like, fuck you. I don't want to watch your shit ever again. I'm sure Taylor Swift, when she came out for Kamala Harris, people were like, yeah, you know what? No more Taylor Swift concerts for me. That's it. Like, whereas you just don't say anything and you let people kind of make up their mind. So that's in terms of, like, you're saying, like, why are actors and celebrities endorsing Kamala Harris? You're like, it's just because they can. It's just a professional thing. It's not
the only acceptable option for most of them, unless you want to run that.
I mean, like, Chris Pratt, he's like famously pretty Christian. I imagine if. Yeah, like there's actually, let's see, there's an article about it right now. Chris Pratt under fire after sharing his views on the election. Because it sounds like his mother-in-law is Maria Shriver, who's a big-time Kamala Harris supporter. It sounds like he didn't pick a side, which is he's getting slammed for. So he's getting slammed for just, like, not picking a side. But obviously, he's probably a Trump supporter, but you just can't do that. It's not acceptable.
Yeah. And so real quick, also going back to another issue that you brought up about the fluoride, and we got to shout out Alex Jones, right? Because he did call all these years ago. But I mean, what he did, from what I remember, is he was citing a study. I think it was like from UC Berkeley. It was from some college, but he got it wrong when he initially did it. Because he was saying, I don't like them putting chemicals in the water. They turn the freaking frogs gay. Well, when you look back at it, it was making them hermaphroditic, right?
Yeah.
It was changing their sex.
Yeah, it was that. What is it? Like, anthracene or something? Whatever that drug is.
Yeah, It was atrazine that was getting in the water.
Atrazine, right?
It's wild. It's funny, but yeah, I'm.
But I mean, to see CNN, come out and saying like, "Hey, yeah, we might want to look into fluoride," and you're like, "That's crazy." That would be something I could have, out of all the things I could have never predicted, I could have never predicted CNN being like, yeah, maybe we need to have a look at this fluoride thing.
What's next? It's like, yeah, CNN's going to be like Babylon Bee, but predicting like right-wing headlines, just reverse pendulum the other way.
Yeah, exactly. Well, CNN's making a real conscious effort to kind of get back to the center, because I think it's just bad business what they were doing. And if they can somehow manage to like stay in business, that'll be a fucking miracle for them, because you would think that the Trump thing would have just killed them. Like that would have just been like, you can't come back from this, but it's seeming like they might be able to. So yeah, we'll see. Anything else you want to
add? Prediction for CNN. If they go and Trump wins, they'll have headlines for the next 5 years saying how to be a patriarch and have your lineage last for generations. Really targeting like.
Sure.
But yeah, Danny, good talking to you.
Cool, man. Thanks, dude. Later. All right. I don't know if there's a stream issue here. It's weird. Every week at around the 2-hour mark, I keep getting this error saying YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. So I don't know if you guys are getting buffering. I don't know what's going on, but let's take a couple more callers. And yeah, I saw someone trying to figure out how to join the channel. There should just be a join button. I don't know if it's not available on mobile, but you can just join. Or ideally, if you want to go to patreon.com/lowvaluemail, MAIL, you can get access every week to Low Value Mail Overtime, where I'm going to cover the articles that I didn't get to in the show. Sometimes there'll be articles I just, a little spicier that I'll throw down there. Okay, let's take a couple more calls. Oh, here we go. What did I do here? What have I done? But anyways, consider supporting the show. It makes me want to live. Did I say that out loud? Okay, we got a caller here. Hello, you're on Low Value Mail. Who am I speaking with?
Hello.
What's happening?
This is Patrick.
Patrick, what's up?
Yes, sir.
Where are you calling from, Patrick?
I have one question for you. You were just mentioning it. I've been trying to find this damn join button for weeks, and it's not showing up.
Oh, maybe YouTube is fucking. Maybe I am in their bad graces. I mean, as far as when I go look at it, it just right beside Low Value Mail, like on YouTube, it just says join. Like I see it on mine. It's right there.
It's got to be the Fed.
Maybe my accounts are in not good standing at YouTube. It's potential. Let me open this up on a different browser and see what's going on. I mean, if it turns out that they're fucking.
I'm on a phone. I'm on my iPhone.
Oh, see, I don't. Yeah, maybe it's a mobile. Maybe it's a mobile thing.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
Question about it.
Oh no! You know what? I have it. I just opened it on YouTube, not logged in. And there's a subscribe button, but there's no join button. So looks like I'm being
logged
restricted.
In and subscribed normally.
Yeah, well, it looks like fucking YouTube's a bunch of cocksuckers. Patreon.com/lowvaluemail is the only other option, unfortunately.
Yeah. Do you get a better cut through Patreon?
I do get a better cut through Patreon, and more importantly, they don't pull like shit like this. And
nice.
And they won't because eventually, just like because my main channel, which this used to be on, got fully demonetized from me posting like a 30-second clip from the bathhouse. So it's my guess is at some point they're gonna fucking hit me on here. And what happens is if you get a strike on YouTube, you lose all your channel members. They all go away. So I imagine that's gonna happen at some point, and it wouldn't happen on Patreon. So Patreon is preferable. And like, if you join a Patreon, you can submit links that I'll cover on the episodes, and you get the audio with no ads and stuff. So it's probably better overall. But You guys do you.
Is there still like live chat and all that?
Yeah, you still get the live chat during the episode. You get everything you get here. The only thing you don't get is you don't get like the green star thing beside the green name on YouTube. That's it.
No wrenches is what you're saying.
No, the wrenches are all gone. Nobody has a wrench. So the wrenches are gone. And there's a vote that's up right now, and it's 53% no for wrenches. So it looks like the wrenches will not be
I was
coming
saying
back.
earlier, if wrenches win, Trump wins. So it looks like.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Well, wrenches,
but I
wrenches
did
are
have
losing.
one
go ahead.
question
go
for
ahead.
you.
Yep.
I just listened to the Boys Cast episode earlier, and you were saying if you had to guess Kamala was going to win, but then earlier you said Trump. So which one is it?
Well, so man, it's such a hard one, obviously, because like I feel like I don't have a clear sense of things. My gut says go with Polymarket because I think like from the market perspective, but I do think that Kamala, based off of like the abortion thing, pissing off women, some sort of malarkey or skullduggery that might occur.
Yeah.
The amount of people that will be put out by Trump winning, i.e. like, every mainstream media outlet losing 10% of their fucking revenues. You just like, you're making too many enemies. Like a Kamala win is just status quo. We just keep doing whatever we're doing. Everybody just like whatever caller from earlier just goes, yeah, I still have to go to work tomorrow. I do very much feel like the status quo. I want Trump to win. I think that would be the funnier and more interesting thing to happen. But if I like gun to my head, if you go gun to my head, I would pick Kamala Harris to win, but not for like that I want
would as
to,
well. Not
because I want to, and not because I
Right.
think she's better or anything. I just think there's powers at play. Dark powers, dark things going on in the background.
Deep powers.
And I
deep
also just
state
I go
powers.
back to like, man, like what's that saying about a woman scorned? Health hath no fury like a woman scorned. I think there's a little bit of that at play where,
Yeah, I saw there was a women's march for like abortion in Kansas City that I saw on my feed, and one of them had a sign that said that.
Yeah.
I'll
And
have
what
no
was the
fury
turnout?
like a woman scorned.
What was the turnout like?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, it didn't look too big.
Yeah, I mean, like Trump, like for comedy, Trump would be like for the state of the comedy industry, Trump wins better, for sure. Like there's a lot of things that a Trump win would be better for. I would think less war. I would think the health of the U.S. economy, I think, would be better. I think there's a lot of things that would be better for. But that abortion issue, man, those chicks, they fucking. They don't like being, like I keep saying it, women do not like being told what to do. And I think there's a good chance that they're going to let us know.
Well, we need to keep scorning women.
Agreed. All right. Thanks, man.
All right. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay. Last call of the night. And it's none other than conspiracy extremists. Do you guys see any lagging issues? Because I'm getting a notification saying that it's lagging, but I don't see anybody in the chat indicating as such. Hello.
What's up, Danny? How's it going, brother?
How are you doing, man?
Dude, yeah, sorry about earlier, man. I couldn't figure. I kept pressing *6. And I kept making it worse.
Oh, all good.
All right, now I know you're ending your show. I have a theory here.
Let's hear it.
I think all right, so it's about Jews.
Okay.
All right.
I'm listening.
So my theory originally was after meeting you, Dave Smith and, the Jews that I like, I had like a height thing, right? Like you're obviously much taller than I am. Dave Smith is as well.
Dave's also tall. Yeah.
So Is there anything to that, or am I just making this up, do you think?
I've known many short Jews. I think Jews are probably just average, whatever the average height wise. I don't think there's Jews are definitely not. I don't know if there's going to be some Nephilim angle or something, but Jews are, I think, would fall exactly in the averages. I would have to guess.
So would you agree that maybe the taller Jews are more white than the shorter Jews?
No. I knew a lot of Jews who were definitely like, honestly, like to think like it was equally distributed among my, I guess, Gentile friends versus my Jewish friends. I don't think there was anything there. Not that I can think of.
All right. Well,
like we had one really tall kid at my high school. We had one family at my, sorry, not at my high school, at my elementary school, which was like all Jewish school. And there was one family and they were all fucking gigantic. Like the daughter was like 6'6" when we were like in elementary school. And they were all like, they all ended up being like 6'10" to 7 feet. It's all super gangly. Yeah, Ari, Benny the Jet says Ari's tall. Ari is probably taller than me. But I mean, there's Renan Hirschberg. He's probably 5'7". There's lots of small Jews.
All right. Well, we can scrap that. I was trying to find a way to accept the fact that I like you and I like Dave, but still be anti-Semitic. You know. Gotcha.
Yeah. You can. I mean, I'll allow it. You can just do it regardless. But I'm trying to. Now you're making me think. No, Boris. This guy Boris Hyken. He's not tall. No, I think it's just normal. I think it's normal distribution. Probably the identical distribution among just fellow whites.
I think I did. In all transparency, I did debunk my theory before you took my call because I did look up Bibi Netanyahu, Bibi whatever his name is.
Yeah,
his height, he's 6 foot. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Justin Silver. David D just said Justin Silver. He's a short king, so. Sure. But Big J is pretty tall. I think he's half Jewish or something.
What's up?
Oh, whoops.
I
accidentally.
Big J is Jewish?
That's what someone said. Is that he's half Jewish, I believe. I believe so.
All right. Well, how do I keep being anti-Semitic? This is very frustrating for me.
You just go with what's in your heart.
All right, so election stuff, right? So,
yeah.
I would say so. I did not vote for Donald Trump.
Would you vote for Chase Oliver?
The reason I didn't. Fuck no. Ew, gross.
Jill Stein?
No.
Would you write in some? You wrote in the Toad guy.
Yeah, Tower Gang Toad. I wrote in him because he's the only person who's actually like registered to be a president. Obviously, he's not going to win. He's not on any ballots, but he's the only anti-abortion candidate, and that is a big deal for me. So,
gotcha. And the abortion thing is, I mean, that's I've said it a million times, but if something wins it for Kamala Harris, it is going to be abortions, even though she's not going to fix it. She's not even going to fix abortions. It's not even like she's promising, hey, abortions for all.
Right.
She's just people are just.
I do have a question for you, Dan.
Yeah, go ahead.
So obviously you've talked about the abortion thing a lot. With like you feel like that's a deciding factor, and
absolutely.
I think you've mentioned like people that you know, like women that you know that's a big thing for them.
Absolutely.
So I'm wondering, like, why do you hang out with serial killers?
They're not. The thing is these are women who, like, I know of a family member friend who, like, she's never had an abortion. It's literally she has daughters, and then she's like, oh, what am I? Daughter's gonna die on a fucking, like, they buy into the narrative that's spun where you're like, yeah, your daughter's gonna die on a fucking in a surgery table or whatever. She's going to die in like the waiting room of an emergency room because they won't give her an abortion that she needs for her to live because like it's illegal. Like they buy, like, dude, it's like women are so much more easily like manipulated with like emotional claims. And so if you paint a picture for them, they believe it, you know, like it's not, they're not looking to be like seeing what the GDP of the country is. They don't give a shit about that stuff. They are more easily reached on emotional arguments. And, you know, that's a personal, emotional thing. And just like, you know, they're very much, and even when they say, hey, well, men's bodies aren't, you know, up for debate kind of thing. And you're like, yeah, they are. Men get drafted to war. Like, so I can't remember who said that, but like they are, but they just don't see it. It's like, again, it's not about necessarily like, this is about winning an election, and it doesn't matter if you lie to win. Then nobody cares about. They just want to win, and so if it means, you know, being a little fast and loose with the truth, so be it. That's just what they do.
So how are you feeling about that 19th Amendment these days?
It ain't going anywhere. But if I mean,
no, how are you feeling about it?
How am I feeling about it? Hey, man, you know what? I still prefer democracy. I don't like, you know. Obviously, I don't think women should not be allowed to vote. I think they should be a little more informed. But I mean, there's a lot of other people who are misinformed about it. Lots of shit. It's just, it is what it is. You have a country of 300 and whatever, 50 million people, maybe 400 million people, depending on how many illegals are here. And yeah, it is what it is. Everybody gets to vote, and hopefully it's a fairly fair election. And then you go with the. You go with what people voted for, and, you know, if it's Kamala Harris, it's going to be 8 years, and then we'll hopefully have Vivek or J.D. Vance maybe wins it in 2032, and maybe we're all dead by then. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think about it too much, to be honest. I do very much believe in that the country is more important than the president. The president can only do minimal damage.
Yeah, I agree. I think she's going to win. They're going to do another cheating thing, and but who cares? You know, just I
just like the previous caller, just fucking go to work. It's like you still just, you know. And I understand that you're like, yeah, if you live on a border town, and you're like, yeah, this does affect me, or if for whatever things people are like, yeah, this does really affect me. But most people are just like, just go live your life. It'll be fine.
Yeah. So the last thing I wanted to say is tomorrow is election night. And I'm going live on my channel, and I want to encourage all your viewers to go watch my show on election night.
Sure,
that's very important.
What time does that start?
When does the Boys Cast go live?
It starts at 10.
So my show starts at 10.
Okay,
so
it's not looking good for you
I
so
just
far.
I'm just kidding, brother. Just joking.
Oh.
We are going live, but it'll be way later. So.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, then go check out our show, and then go check out yours, because I think we're only going to do 2 or 3 hours, like probably 2 hours, likely. So I don't think we're not going to be staying up till fucking 3 in the morning. So I think there's going to be a lot of streamers going till 4 or some shit. So or I guess you're West Coast time, so you have an advantage there. All right, man. Conspiracy extremists, everybody.
Have a good night.
Later.
Later, brother.
All righty then. That has been the show, everybody. I hope I put some of your election anxieties to rest. I didn't. I hope I didn't. I don't really care. It'll be fine, guys. It's gonna be totally chill. There's nothing to worry about. It's just enjoy. Just enjoy it. Just soak it in. You know, just really just get in the moment. Just breathe in through your nose. Soak that shit in. That has been this episode of Low Value Mail. We are going to be starting at 11:40 on Low Value Mail Overtime, the debut of Low Value Mail Overtime. Sign up to the Patreon, patreon.com/lowvaluemail, MAIL, or join the channel if you can. Apparently, YouTube makes it very difficult to do that because they're a bunch of fucking cocksucking bastards. That's fine. That's their prerogative. They're a private business. But consider supporting the show, and you'll get an extra episode every week. That has been the show. Shout out to everybody who super chatted, all 6 new members. Appreciate you all on the channel. And I will see the rest of y'all next week. Also watch the Boys Cast stream tomorrow night. And bad news, the poll is over. 300 of you voted. Should I give the wrenches back? It was this fucking close. But the answer is no. 52% of you voted no, and so it shall be. Good night, everybody. Shout out to our producer, Mark, for manning the phones, and I'll see some of you on the after show in 6 minutes. The link, by the way, is, if you're on YouTube, it's in the communities tab. If you're on Patreon, just go look at the post and you'll find the link. It's an unlisted link. And I'll see some of you there very soon. Good night.
You know it, all my shit heroic. Empathic abilities, yeah, my face be also stoic. Bleep, blow up, nigga, that just means I'm working. They see me as a leader, so that's why I'm Captain Kirkin. These tracks from the stars, that much is for certain. You can fit this hit if you up or if you hurting. I'm raising my stock, not talking my feet in some Birkin. Number Johnny 5, got a fucking short circuit. Bring the track to life when I spit phenomenal. When I hit, she feel that shit in her abdominals. These rappers make me laugh like comic view, they comic through. You know I got a ball out, I hit the track running just like Sonic do. They don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah, they was trying to get me on my hype shit. Yeah, they don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah, and they tried to down me up some KO type shit. Yeah, they don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah, now we pulling up fresh on some flight shit. They don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah, they don't wanna turn on my light switch. They don't wanna turn on my light switch.